I saw you snorting coke right before this thing started. I was like, bro, it's not on the couch, those lines.
I pull in and my top guy's walking out of the office with a big mic. My second top guy's walking out with a fridge. And my heart drops to my stomach. Guys, what's going on? They're literally ignoring me, walking out. I'm in their face now and I'm like, holy shit, what is going on?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the 11 out of 10 podcast, the #1 real estate investing podcast in the world, and also the most underrated podcast in the world. We're just getting started. So if you find value in today's show, make sure to share it with another real estate investor like you. We're trying to change lives on this podcast. And guys, once again, we're bringing it bigger and better than ever before with my co-host, Zachary Keeps. Zachary, thanks for coming out here on a Saturday.
Grateful honor.
We are sponsored by Red Bull today. It is a Saturday morning. We were up late.
Sunday.
Having a good time. And we got a legend, an absolute legend here. I think you've made it to legendary status.
Okay.
Shawn Surani.
Well, if Robert says I'm a legend, then I guess I'm a legend.
You know this guy's big time with these glasses on. Welcome, brother.
Pleasure being here. Pleasure being here. Thank you for having me on finally.
Okay, so I gotta tell everyone a story about how I heard about you for the first time. So my brother John,
great friend of mine, love him.
Yeah,
yep.
Absolute legend. You guys had fun. You were out in Miami Grand Prix,
F1, yep.
Tearing it up. But he calls me up a few years back, and our highest level of Investorlift, you got to be making $250,000 per month to buy it. So he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, I got this 17-year-old that wants to buy Cartel." I'm like, "Yeah, no, you got to be doing $250,000." He's like, "He says he is." I'm like, "Bullshit. No, he's not." And he's like, "No, I'm pretty sure he is." I'm like, "Tell him to send HUDs.
Yep.
If he sends HUDs showing that he's doing $250,000 a month, he can buy a seat." And sure enough, you don't just send HUDs, you send HUDs showing you're doing much more than $250,000. I think you were near $500,000 a month.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yep.
At 17.
Yep.
That is insane. Were you in high school at the time?
So that's a whole story. I graduated high school when I was 16.
Wow.
So that's a whole, with a 3.9 GPA. That's a whole story right there.
So you are good looking and smart.
Man, you do not look like a 3.9 GPA.
This guy will talk you up.
I would guess like 2.6.
2.6.
That's crazy.
Damn.
3.9. Wow.
Well, it's also a lot easier when you go into an online private school.
Chat GPT that shit.
That's right.
That's the loophole.
So online private. Let's get into it. Let's hear this. So 17. When did you start your real estate journey? I just found out about you today.
Yeah. So entrepreneurship started when I was 13. I mean, even before that, dude, I was the guy in school that sold candy. You know, I was the candy guy. Yep. Go to the dollar store, buy the candy, sell it in elementary school.
You look like you sold more than candy. Be honest. Did you ever sell anything else?
Dude, candy, sports cards, the whole 9 yards, dude. I was that guy. And
all
then
legal stuff.
All legal only, baby.
Good.
Legal only.
Okay.
And then, from there, I explored everything. I mean, resold sneakers, borrowed $500 from my dad, went downtown to a convention called Kicks Fair, downtown Atlanta. Bought 3 pairs of shoes with the $500, walked over to Georgia State University campus, sold the 3 sneakers the same day, doubled my money. And that's how that was my first real business where I was handling thousands of dollars a month, basically, and I was making $3-4 grand a month. And this is probably right around 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm flipping sneakers to celebrities, at my peak, and from there
to celebrities.
Yeah, Offset from the Migos was my #1, biggest celebrity in Atlanta, well-known rapper. Cardi B's fucking husband. Am I allowed to cuss on this?
You can tell anything you want.
Okay, fair enough.
This is the 11 out of 10 podcast.
There we go. We go 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
Why not 20 out of 10?
Here it goes.
No,
Robert.
100 out of 10.
If you go from 11 to 12, then you have to go to 13, then you have to go to 14. It ends up, eventually you're like, oh, that's 1,256 out of 10.
Fair enough.
There it is.
So you just got to stop at 11.
Fair enough. So yeah, from sneakers, got into, my thing was I'm a huge sports fan. Born and raised in Atlanta. Love all my sports teams out there in Atlanta. And I remember going sitting nosebleeds at Atlanta Hawks games and, $15 tickets, that kind of a deal. And I would look down, all the way down. And I would see people sitting on the floor on the courtside tickets. And I would say, how are these guys affording to spend $1,000, $2,000 for 3 hours of basketball? And so at that time, the Atlanta Hawks sucked at basketball. We were the worst team in the league. And I found a loophole, which like if you bought season tickets, you could sell 50% of the games, get all of your money out, sell another 25%, profit on that, and then go to 25% of the games and get paid to go to Atlanta Hawks games. And so I got into the ticket business that way, started buying PSLs in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is the Atlanta Falcons Stadium, resold Super Bowl tickets, just got into the ticket brokering business, made more money than what I was making in sneakers, took that money, and then my dad has a background in commercial real estate. So him and his partnership group, they had their niche in Hispanic supermarkets across the Southeast, predominantly in Georgia. And so I said, how do I capitalize on the existing relationship I have? And I think that's one area where a lot of people, when they're first looking to get into business and making money, everyone has relationships with someone. You may be disconnected by one, but you know someone who knows someone at the very least. Yeah. And so I said, let me first capitalize on the low-hanging fruit. And so I said, well, what's a need that these grocery stores may need? And so I, thought about ATM machines, something that's passive, something I could put in, make a bit of cash on the fees, and they'd help me out by me, they'd let me put the machines in the stores, obviously. So got in the ATM machine business, had a guy fly down from Minnesota. At this time, I'm like 15 years old.
You're 15.
I'm 15 at this time.
ATM
I don't even have my driver's license. Yeah. I'm on my permit, like the student permit, where you can drive if someone sits in the passenger seat with you. Yeah. And so I had a business partner who was like 22 years old at the time, and me and him were like doing these ATM machine deals. And I remember one time being in language arts class. I got my ATM machine in a cash-only barbershop. And I remember being in language arts class, and the owner of the barbershop calls me and goes, "Shawn, you need to come to the barbershop right now." And I said, "Hold on, what's going on?" He's like, "The ATM machine is out of cash and I'm a cash-only barbershop. What do you want me to do? You're responsible for this. My customers can't pay me right now." And I'm like, "Well, shit, I'm in language arts class. I can't even drive to you. What am I like? I don't have cash on me." Yeah. And so, long story short, at that time I was still in kind of the thing of sticking in school, that kind of a deal. So sold off my ATM routes to a company called Cardtronics. Got some money from that.
Is that a good business, the ATM business?
Not anymore.
No.
I mean, the whole world's gone virtual. It's a tough business to be in now. 20 years ago, right? Like even when I got into it, it was too late. 20 years ago, that was the business to be in. Yeah. When everyone used ATM machines on a regular basis, it was the business to be in. Yeah. It was passive. But long story short, made a little bit of money from that, put that in my bank account, set it to the side, and then went away for 3 months to Pakistan, India, Dubai. I just went. My cousin was getting married in India. Then I went to Dubai. Just did a whole 3-month trip, kind of a reset during summer vacation. School's out for 3 months during the summer, and I was like, "What do I want to do now?" I don't have any business, and I was always a business type of guy, and so I took that summer off, came back. Spoke to my guidance counselor, and I remember my counselor sat me down, and I told her, I was like, "Hey, I don't want to be in school." She's like, "Well, you can't drop out at 16. You can't be a high school dropout. This, we're in the 2020s. This is not like the 80s or like it's more common for high school dropouts to exist. You can't drop out of high school. If you do, you will never be successful. I can guarantee you that." She looked me straight
says
in
the
my
guidance counselor.
Yes.
Says the guidance counselor.
And then you
Straight to my
say,
face.
"So, when you need a job in 2 to 3 years, you just retain my number and remember me. Here's my number."
She literally looked me dead in my eyes and she said, "You're never going to be successful." Right. And I remember that really hit home with me. I was like, wow, My language arts teacher, same thing. "You're never going to be successful." Like they're all counting me out because Shawn was known as the guy who would come to school late because he was working a sneaker convention the night before, or, was out of town at some convention, learning something like a real estate event like the one we had yesterday over here, Eric Klein's event, going to events, and Shawn was missing school, all this stuff. And the teachers caught on and they were like, "You're never going to be successful. You're chasing something that's, not non-existent." Mm-hmm. And I remember telling my counselor, I'm like, "But I'm already making more money than my teachers. Why am I here?" Teacher makes $40,000 a year. I'm making $40,000 a year flipping sneakers. What am I doing here? Mm-hmm. And she was like, "Fine, there's online private schools, but I strongly recommend you, if you're going to leave, you still need to go graduate high school." Long story short, next day, filed the paperwork, got out, went into online private school, graduated at 16. That was my sophomore year of high school.
Wow.
Got out of there.
You just powered through.
powered.
Let me ask you something.
Through.
So your parents, I mean,
Yes.
who was the largest support at that time? Sounds
Yeah.
like you're this like
Yeah.
young buck.
Yeah,
It's in the blood.
Yeah.
How were you influenced by your dad, your mom, and how did they, what was their perspective of you? Hey, son, we encourage you to drop out. We want you to follow your passion. Like, what's the deal?
So they're immigrant parents. And so if you know anything about immigrant parents, they want their children to graduate from college.
Yeah.
And we never had anyone in the family graduate from a college or university.
Wow.
And so it was very important for them to have their children graduate from a college or university. And so I'll jump into that. But basically, I always say this too as a prerequisite. I always say my success is based on three things. And I truly believe this. I think it's, my belief in the man upstairs, it's my mom's prayers and my father's genes. I think it really runs in our blood because I truly believe I was just born with a business brain.
Yeah.
Not a wholesaling. It was just proper business brain. Like when accounting was put in front of me, Warren Buffett says it all the time, accounting is the language of business. I understand accounting at a deep level. Any report you give me in my face, more advanced than just your P&Ls, your balance sheets. I'm talking about full on cash outflow statements, general ledgers, the whole 9 yards. I just understood that language from a very young age. So I believe I had that in my genes. So I graduate high school. And now I'm really at a crossroads because again, the parents have the pressure. Hey, you need to go to college.
Yeah.
And I'm in my head like, I hate school. I despised it. And so my mom made a deal with me after begging her. And the deal was really simple. I told her, I think if I have a full year of focus on business, I can make $1 million. And she laughed and she's like, okay, sure. Do you even, you don't even know what $1 million looks like. You don't know how hard that is, because she's seen my dad and what my dad had to go through, blue collar, no job, came to America with $500 in his pocket, worked at Dunkin' Donuts, mopping floors, all the way to building a multi-8-figure commercial portfolio in Atlanta. Wow. She's seen that struggle and how long it took my dad to get to that level. Yeah. So she said, you're 16 years old. You're not going to make $1 million in 12 months. And I remember saying, let's make a bet. And she said, okay, fine. If you can make $1 million in the next 12 months, you don't have to go to college. I'll give you 12 months.
I love that.
I'll give you 12 months. And I will get to this point, but I remember as I was going on my journey, every day I would come home while I was on that journey and I would say, Mom, I made this much money. Or like we closed like a $10,000 assignment fee. And my mom would be like, that's it? And I remember coming home and anytime I would say I made this much money or I made this much money, my mom would always be like, that's all? Really? Do you know so-and-so made this much? And I know they say comparison is the thief of joy, but at that time, that's what I needed in my life to push me. Because every time I would come home, I would think I just did something crazy and my mom would say, that's it? You can do more. And I remember literally just hearing her say, that's it, and being like, you're so ungrateful. You don't know how hard I worked to make that $10,000 assignment fee. But the next day when I would go to the office, the drive I had to prove her wrong and to say, really, that's it? Let me show you how much more fucking money I can make then. You know what I mean? But backtracking a little bit. So yeah, at that point, the deal was 12 months. I'm going to give you a 12-month break. You don't have to go to college for 12 months. You have to make $1 million. And so 16 years old, I had enough money to do my first fix and flip on a hard money, private money loan.
Back up. How did you decide, okay, I have 12 months. Why the vertical of real estate?
Yes.
Why not, more shoes? Why not create a rap album? Why real estate?
So real estate in my family was the thing. My cousins, my uncles, my dad, everyone had their different verticals in real estate.
Right. Sounds
all
like commercial real
things.
estate, grocery stores.
Mainly commercial. And so commercial was a big kahuna. I didn't have the money to get into it. And I had two options, right? I had the option of, hey, let me just go get behind them, kind of follow suit and just work for them and work my way up. They retire, I take over the whole thing. But I really wanted to carve my own path because I'm a big believer in creating a legacy. I wanted that brand. I wanted to be the brand. I wanted to be the self-made guy. Because I had already gotten to this point, flipping the sneakers. I knew what hard knocks looked like. And so decided, okay, I can do residential. I have enough money where I can get a private money loan. I can do a fix and flip. Right. And I remember literally growing up, my mom's an interior designer. And I remember growing up, like we would be in bed or in the living room and like every day what was on the TV was HGTV. Right? Like House Hunters, Flipper, Flop, good friend of yours, right? And all those HGTV shows would just be on TV. So it was like, that's what I'm saying. In the background, these things were being instilled in me, and I knew everyone was getting rich in real estate. I knew that was the vertical because that's all I was around. And I speak about this all the time, proximity to success. I think that's so important. The first step in being successful, in my opinion, is getting in proximity to success.
Yep.
Doing whatever you can to get around a group of people, or being around what success is, so you understand how to get there. Because you see how people are moving on a daily basis if they're successful, and all you have to do is just emulate that.
Yeah, that's why I moved here. Like, I just wanted to
you just want to be closer to me.
I want to be closer to Zach here.
That's right.
Be more
King
like
of Arizona,
Zach.
I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so got to that point, and so get into real estate, get my first private money loan, did a fix and flip in downtown Atlanta, Southwest Atlanta.
How did you find the deal?
So found the deal on market. It was just literally on Zillow, didn't have access to the MLS or anything. And this is probably, like right at this, like 2020 mark now. So I'm entering 16 years old, 17 years old, that range basically in 2020, and do the first fix and flip.
And it was all cash, or did you have to?
Private money. So
did you need a co-signer because you're your age?
So I got the private money loan from my dad and a partner of his. Basically, they
okay, so it was OPM. It wasn't through like
OPM. No,
correct.
It was OPM.
Okay.
I put 20%. They did 80%. Interest, standard stuff, 2 points, the whole 9 yards. Ended up making right under 30 grand on the flip. Right. And I'm still very young. I used a connection through a mutual friend for a contractor. Contractor hooked me up, took a lot of payments on the sale of the house at that time. This is, again, right before the COVID boom. Things were more laxed at that time. People were more friendly.
I like how your dad kicks you in the nuts and gives a 2-point entry fee.
2-point entry.
But you know what? That's a great lesson. Like, I'm glad that he actually did that.
Yeah. And so got into that. And I appreciate that too, because that gives me the leverage of being able to say I didn't have that full silver spoon. I had the resources. But at the end of the day, guys, I mean, like, I feel like it's too common now on social media for everyone to have the same story of we were dead broke and I had a single mom, and like, let's normalize.
You're keeping it real. Like, I came from a middle class, upper middle class family. Like, okay.
So what? And so I used the resources that I had at my disposal. And I had a lot of friends that had way richer parents, right? So what? It just is different people are placed in different situations. It's your job to take advantage of your situation. I truly believe no matter what situation you're in, you can take advantage of that situation. You just have to know, you just have to get creative with it. And so anyway, so I do that first fix and flip. Right out of the gate, I realized this is not going to be scalable. Like, I have to have like a lot of cash.
I love how you figured that out on the first deal.
Yes, but it was like, because I made, like right under 30 grand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now what? I want to run a business. I want to be busy 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. Like, one house is not going to do shit.
Did you swing the hammer on that one at all, or no? Were you out there doing
showed
some
up,
demo? Did you do
not
anything?
necessarily demo, but I was out there like every day checking on the contractors. I did the quality checks. Like, I would say, you didn't baseboards. This is wrong here. That kind of a deal. Definitely had an input with the appliances. Went to Home Depot myself for the appliances.
Did your mom help you with the design at all?
Yes, for sure.
Awesome.
She helped with the entire interior designing.
That's great.
And that was a huge help as well. And I think she's a beast when it comes to interior designing. And so basically, after that first fix and flip, like I said, it was like, dude, I need a full-time career. Like, how do I do this? And so I remember one time going with my dad to his attorney's office, and my dad had a piece of land and they weren't going to build on it. And his attorney started talking about assignments. And like, I'm listening to them talk about it, and he's like, Ron, just assign the contract. And my dad's talking to him about what an assignment is and all this stuff. And it's like, the attorney's literally explaining, you could just take the contract. You don't have to tell the seller anything. Just take the contract and you could just assign your rights to purchase. Just don't tell him what you have it for. Just tell the guy that's interested in purchasing it from you that you want this much money for it. Assign it over. Whatever the difference is that you have the contract for and what you assign it for, that's the money you're going to take home. And I literally remember being like, and I started asking questions like, can I do this on houses? How does this work? And he's like, yeah, you can do this with any property in the state of Georgia. You could put, it doesn't even have to be, it can be just property in general. It doesn't even have to be a house. Like, if you theoretically got a contract to buy a car at 50% of its value, right, from Robert, and I offered it to Zach, and I said, Zach, do you want to buy this car for 70 cents on the dollar? And Zach, that's a crazy deal. I can literally just connect the parties and make the difference in between. It may be a different transaction, but you guys get the point.
And you have this background in sneaker flipping. You're like, shit, I used to have to buy my sneakers. What if I didn't have to buy my sneakers?
Now I have no COGS. I have no cost of goods sold. The arbitrage, right? I have no COGS, no cost of goods sold in this business model. And so then went on YouTube University. I'm looking at everybody. Max Maxwell was huge at the time. Looking at anyone I can. YouTube University, the whole 9 yards. And fall onto wholesaling, because I didn't know wholesaling. I knew assignment. I knew that word.
Right.
But when I typed in assignments on YouTube, this wholesaling thing came up.
Sure.
And so with that, YouTube University just all opened up, and I grasped the concept.
Yep.
I got it. And I was a sales guy by trade. So I didn't take the easy way out of buying leads. And that also wasn't as prominent when I was coming up 3-4 years ago as it is today, where there's a different PPL company, a different PPC company, a different call center, like all across the market. It wasn't as prominent when I was coming up.
Hey, that's my money from Investorlift. I make $30,000 per assignment. That's why we have so much money. It could be you. Come to Investorlift. Come check it out.
And so I remember, again, being the sales guy that I was, a lot of my buddies were in car sales. And so I remember asking them, like, hey, what is a lead to you guys? And they said, Shawn, we're savages. Anyone who owns a damn car is a lead to us. We don't care if they're in the market to buy a car. If they own a car, they're good enough to be a lead for us, because we will convince them why they need to get out of the car they're in right now and why they need to get in the car that they have for sale. Right? Whether it's, hey, your payments on this car, I can put you in a car with this payments, or hey, the safety features, or hey, the luxury, or, whatever. I can sell you on getting out of the car you're in right now and getting in a new car. I said, let me apply that same philosophy in the real estate side. So I remember YouTube University was telling me, hey, you need to have, you need to go after divorce, probate, bankruptcy, you need to pull these niche lists that you cold call them, you text them, you RVM them at the time before RVMs went banned, right? And I said, wasn't the name of the game just getting properties under contract for a discount? Why do they have to have a divorce or a probate? I didn't get that concept, and I wanted to do a lot of deals. So I just went literally and pulled a list of houses that are owned in the state of Georgia.
Free and clear.
Those were my leads. No, not even free and clear.
Just anybody
that owns a homeowner. Anybody that's a homeowner in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
I said, this is good enough to be a lead for me. I don't know what these guys are talking about, right? Like probate and divorce and equity and absent. I didn't even get that. I just got a list and I said, these are leads, right? And I literally remember I got on a dialer and I literally just start cold calling. Just banging them on the dialer.
Pitch us. Let's hear it.
So I would literally just go, hey,
and by the way, how old are you at this point?
So at this point in time, I'm like 16, 17 years old still. I'm 16, 17 years old.
Pre or post puberty, so the voice.
Dude, I got lucky with that. This beard's been around for a few years now. So that helped for sure.
I was expecting a 7 because Rob goes, we got this 17-year-old beast coming and you got to get here this morning.
Former 17.
Look, I go, the guy don't look 17. All right, he's got more chest hair than I do. Okay, what's the pitch?
And what I did was also I got my buddies involved. So my high school buddies. I said, hey, I got this. I'm flipping real estate.
Yep.
Right? I'm going to teach you guys how to do it, and you guys are going to do it with me, and I'm going to pay you 10% of whatever, we get. No salaries, no nothing, right? We went and got a WeWork office in Sandy Springs, Georgia, 90 square feet. So probably the size of like a little smaller than your living room, Robert, and literally 8 of us in there. And just packed in there, dude. And it's summertime, and I had my guys working on Saturdays, after hours, all that stuff. They would shut the ACs off. I brought like the fans, the fans that you put in the corners of the rooms and stuff?
Yeah.
I brought those from my house. Like, we're putting fans in the office. Yeah. And we get on a dialer, and the pitch was simple. I trained all my guys on this. It's just, hey, Johnny, what's going on, man? Hey, it's Shawn. I was just reaching out about that property on 123 Main Street. I drove past it the other day. Just wanted to see if you'd be interested in a cash offer for the house, right? If they say they were, boom, we got something on the hook. We go through the whole process. Hey, beds, baths, square footage. Hey, any reason why you're looking to sell? The house seems like it's in a great area, great neighborhood. What's got you interested in selling, right? I'm moving, I'm downsizing. Oh, you're downsizing. Okay, fair enough. The kids move out, or what's going on? And just go through the whole pitch, build that rapport, get the leads in. And our target was to generate 9 leads a day and be able to make at least 6 offers per day. Every single day, we were in there from 8 to 8, basically on a daily basis.
You're running a sweatshop at 17.
It's everyone's commission only. Right. We have it was on the fly. Now, what I had going for me was, now I'm transitioning into end of 2020, 2020's COVID times. We're moving into 2021, which was the year of wholesaling. 2021 was the best year for everyone. And so we're segueing into that time frame. I remember getting my first deal, and the way we got my first deal was so interesting. One of the guys I hired to come work for me, his dad and his uncle bought a fix and flip house that they thought they could work on the weekends. They had full-time jobs. They said, hey, we're handymen. We'll just flip this house. Every weekend we'll go out there, we'll do the work on it, and we'll flip it over time. Long story short, they were in over their heads. 2 guys, just handymen, the whole house was gutted. They didn't have time for it. And so he brings me the deal, and I'm like, holy shit, we can wholesale this. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Lock it up under contract for 90 grand. And now we have our first contract. I'm pumped. Calling around town, nobody wants the house. And at this point in time, you know, for me, first deal under contract, you just assume, hey, you're going to be able to sell it. You're going to make money.
Yeah.
The whole game
And
is just
who
getting
did
the
you
contract.
target? So at that point,
Yeah.
you got this great,
Yep.
you perceived deal,
Yeah.
equity, it fits
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Who are you calling? How do you determine your disposition strategy?
So at that time, it was Craigslist. It was
Okay.
the Facebook groups.
Got it.
It was those two things.
Got it.
But it's interesting how I
Pre-Investorlift.
pre-Investorlift, and it's so interesting how I sold the deal. I actually sold it. There was a platform called OfferUp,
Yep.
which was like a Craigslist knockoff.
It's still around.
It's still around, yeah.
I just bought doors on it for a project of mine.
Really? Yeah. So I literally put the property up on OfferUp, and it went crazy on OfferUp for some reason. And I got people interested, and I ended up fast forward selling it for $110,000. The buyer came to my office and dropped off cash, earnest money in my hands. And I don't know about escrow or any of this
yeah.
stuff. So I'm like, do I just get to keep this in my pocket or what's going on, you know? And so, but after that, man, it was all systems go on this wholesaling thing. We moved out of the broom closet, as I love to call it, that WeWork 90 square feet office. I got a 2,500 square feet office in Norcross, Georgia. Set it all up. And now I'm like 17 years old. We're transitioning into 2021. All my guys are commission only. But man, now the problem that I got faced with was the dilemma of not being a good leader. And I think that's the downfall of a lot of companies, the leaders. And we all, you know, everyone talks about it. Like if your leadership at the top is not solid, it's the biggest bottleneck a company faces.
Yeah.
And I was on a path to I wanted to scale the wholesaling operation. I could see 10 million, 20 million. I thought I could be the biggest wholesaler on the planet.
I remember when you came down to the cartel summit in Punta Cana.
Yep. Yeah.
And you had this huge video. You're like, I'm going to blitz scale up to this. I'm hiring this crazy executive from this really big company.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, whoa.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't need suits right now because suits are managers. They're not doers.
Yeah.
Don't hire suits.
Yeah. And we'll
you
talk
need
about
doers.
That.
And also, if you grow this thing too fast, it's going to blow up in your face. You burnt the whole thing down a couple of times, right?
So 2 times. So Norcross office, all my guys are commission only. Daylight savings time hits, which I don't think you guys even have that out here. Daylight savings time in Arizona, dude.
No.
It was starting
We stayed
to get
the same.
Yeah, it was starting to get dark at like 5:30 in the afternoon. It was pitch black in Atlanta, and I'm pushing our guys again, commission only, and making people come in at a certain time, dress code, all this stuff. Which later found
you
out
had a
that's
dress code.
Later I
behind
found
the
out.
scenes.
Later I found out
Was
that
it like
you can't do that with 1099 contracts.
Baseball cap and
No, dude, no shorts. Like you got to fucking dress to impress in our.
These are your buddies, right? That you brought in, or no?
So
sounds like you
at
have
this
friends
point,
that
it's
came
friends of friends. It's
Okay.
referrals. It's not direct people that I grew up with. Anything like that.
Okay.
And pushing, extending the office hours, making it like we were 9 to 6 at that time, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Daylight savings time hits. Keep in mind, it gets pitch black at 5 o'clock. I now switch it to 9 to 7:30 every day. Hey, you can't leave this office until 7:30.
And are you in the office with your guys?
Yes.
Are you, okay,
Yes.
so you're cranking as well.
I'm in there. Yes, I'm cranking it out.
Big mistake with 1099. With 1099, there's 2 things that will get you in trouble. You can't tell people how to work or when to work.
When to work. And you can't even supply them equipment. Not technically. It's a very gray area with 1099. I wasn't aware of that.
Did you have a lawsuit against you from an employee, or what happened?
No, I got lucky.
Okay.
I got good people around me, and we'll touch on that. But so basically, I extend the office hours. I'm not treating people the way they should be treated. I'm not treating them the way I would want to be treated. Like people are like, if someone messes up on their sales call, I'm taking like whatever I have in my hand, throwing at them. You fucking suck. You should you know what? I'm going to send you home and I'm still going to pay you. I just want you to know how bad you suck. I'm going to do your job for you. How does it feel to have another grown man do your job for you? I was maniacal.
Wolf of Wall Street and fucking 17 right here.
At 17.
But these are great takeaways, right?
Yes.
Let's really delve into what, going back in time and having the knowledge now, fast forward 4 or 5 years, much more mature, calm. How would you have reversed those? Obviously, that's obvious in terms of not yelling or throwing at somebody. But if you could change the culture and go back in time, let's talk about what you would have done and how you could have enhanced the environment and productivity.
It's genuinely what I am today and how I run it today.
Let's get into that.
That's the way, you know? But long story short, on that situation, real quick, if you don't mind, walk out. one time I went to go get lunch, a late lunch, and my partner and buddy at the time calls me up and he says, Shawn, you need to come back to the office right now. Everyone is fucking walking out.
Wow.
And my heart drops to my stomach because my empire falling overnight. This thing that I've built now into a multi-six-figure machine overnight is going to go to zero. I drive back to my office. I kid you not. These guys, like one guy brought in his microwave, another guy brought in his fridge. I pull in and my top guy's walking out of the office with a big microwave in his hand. Then my second top guy's walking out with a fridge in his hand. And I'm like, guys, what's going on? Can we talk? They're literally ignoring me, walking out. I'm in their face. Can we talk? They're looking the other way, walking out. And I'm like, holy shit, what is going on? And long story short, it crumbled. People left. People went and started their own thing. This is another thing. A lot of the camps in Atlanta, a lot of the wholesale shops in Atlanta came out of my shop. And that's a fact. It's not, something I'm saying to toot my own horn. A lot of the wholesaling shops in Atlanta, a lot of Investorlift clients today came out of my office.
So let's talk about a stipulation. Wouldn't you want to, you've taught these guys from the ground floor, why not sign a non-compete?
So
but they were independent.
Exactly. So that's where I learned my lesson. So it wasn't the dress code or anything like that. What happened was, after that happened, I called my attorneys because I did have everyone sign non-competes. I went to my attorneys. These guys are starting their own wholesale operations. Here's their non-competes. We're suing them. He goes, Shawn, they're independent contractors.
Yeah.
And so he painted the picture for me because that's the thing. People sometimes need pictures painted where they can relate to it. He said, Shawn, imagine one of your contractors on one of your fix and flips goes and does a fix and flip for someone else. Do you think you could sue him for that if you had him on a non-compete? He's a painter.
Right.
Like, well, you can't sue a painter put him on a non-compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So learned my lesson. He said, hey, if you want to enforce these non-competes, you need to shift everyone to W-2. You can tell them what to wear, what time to come in, all this stuff. Right. And for me, it was about enforcing discipline. I never, fast forwarding to where I am today, I don't want to tell grown men what to do. But I do want to foster a culture of discipline and professionalism. And that's something that you can only enforce if everyone is on a W-2, so everyone's on the same page. But fast forward from there, rebuilt when the first walkout happened. And this is where I was like, I need a professional COO. So I go out and I hire a guy from apartments.com, pay him a $200,000 a year W-2 salary. Okay. He convinces me we need a head of HR. We hire a head of HR from Berkeley. Okay, liberal melting pot.
By the way, how many employees do you have?
So now at this point in the game, we scaled back. I went hard on Indeed. We went hard on Indeed. I'm hiring everyone. We scaled right back up to like 15, 18 people in office.
Okay.
Full thing going on, bring in the COO. COO says we need a head of HR. Long story short, that COO, first day he comes in, when it came time to put his hands in the weeds and get serious, you know what he told me? He goes, Shawn, where's my executive assistant? And I said, dude, I paid you all the money. I don't have any money. Like, you have the salary cap went to you, bro. Yeah. There is no budget for a executive assistant. Shit, I'll be your executive assistant. I need you to change this company. I need you to help me scale to $10 million.
I want to pause for a second.
Yeah.
How the hell did you get someone? This guy was like pretty high up at apartments.com.
He was making $800,000 a year. Top guy. How did
you get him to work for you?
So the play is that, again, I'm a salesman by trade. Yeah. And I was really able to paint the picture. Like, we have all these proprietary softwares and, and we're changing the game in real estate. We're able to underwrite properties in as little as 5 minutes and make offers in another 5 minutes. Anyone could do that. Go on Zillow and comp it out and know what to offer property. But when I'm pitching these white collar, these suits, it's very simple. Hey, I've developed a system to be able to underwrite properties in as little as 5 minutes. My team is fully trained on how to underwrite the properties, and they're able to make cash offers to acquire the assets for X amount of money. We target B and C class areas. So, I'm not talking like a 17-year-old, obviously. We're like, hey, we're going to go after distressed markets in B and C class areas.
That's impressive that you're able to land this guy.
But why would he go from 800 to 200?
Equity.
Okay.
So I told him, hey, look, so fast forward a bit, 2021 ends, we do $2 million. I'm 17 years old. We do $2 million on a very healthy, like 40% net margin. I am living the dream. Whatever car
So at this
I want.
point, you fulfilled your duty to your mom.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
By the way, a round of applause for
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
You hit the million. Did you do it in a year?
Yeah, 2 million. 2 million in a year from 16
1
to
year.
17. By the time I turned 17 years old, $2 million in assignments we did on 40% net margin. And the goal was, hey, show me you can make $1 million. You don't have to net $1 million, just make $1 million. I made $2 million in assignment fees.
Wow. Didn't just hit it, doubled it.
I doubled
incredible?
it. Yeah, I doubled it. And so now I'm on top of the world, dude. 17-year-old just made $2 million. You can't tell me shit. I'm like, if I did 2 million at 17, I'll go 10x and do 20 million next year. You know, Grant Cardone, I'm like 10xing it, baby. I did 2 million, I can go do 20 million, right? I go and I start looking for new offices. I need a bigger office. Literally, my entire mentality was every acquisitions person I hire, we're gonna make more money. So it doesn't matter. I can go hire a Waffle House worker. I'm so good at sales, I'll train him up and we'll make money. I go and I look into this 30,000 square feet office space. It's a whole floor in a corporate office park. Yeah. And everyone around me begged me not to do it. Everyone.
You talked to me about it, remember?
So I talked to you about it after I already did it. And you were like, dude, you need to get the fuck out.
And I was like, whoa. We stay up till like 5 in the morning. I'm like, no.
You got to unravel this whole thing.
What did your COO say?
My CEO's going on board. He's encouraging this whole thing. He's like, this is what we have to do. If you want to scale to 10 million, and he wanted to obviously get the upside, cash in on the upside of his equity, this is what we got to do. We got to go big. We got to go big, right? Yeah. And so 30,000 square feet office, everyone's telling me, Shawn, please don't do it. I put up a personal guarantee, $101,000 security deposit because the company that I was leasing it from, they didn't trust me. So they asked for like an obscene, like 4 month or like 3.5 months security deposit instead of like a standard, like 1 month security deposit.
What was your lease on that? Like $30K a month?
Like $40K a month. After maintenance and all that stuff. $40,000 a month
$30
lease.
a foot. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And furniture and 30,000 square feet, guys. And we get in there and it's 18 guys and 30,000 square feet. And so at that point, I'm going crazy. Because I come into work every day and it sounds like a library. 30,000 square feet, the whole office is empty. So I go on a hiring spree. I'm hiring anybody that's willing to work. I'm paying them $2,000 a month, $1,000. It doesn't matter. Like I just wanted to fill up the office. I'm like, come work. You need a job? Come on. Oh, you're looking for a job? Come on. I didn't even ask. I just brought them in. Hey, here's leads. We're going to give you 9 leads a day. You're going to call these people. You're going to make them offers for their house. And scaled up like 30, 40 people now, 30,000 square feet. Everyone at this point in the game is salary plus commission because that's one thing I realized. I genuinely really care about my people and we'll talk about where I'm at right now in my life. But this is where I started to kind of turn and mature as we moved into that 30,000 square feet office. And I truly cared because there were people that I remember one guy when we were commission only, he told me, Shawn, like I either have enough money to fill up my gas tank to come into the office or I have enough money for dinner tonight. What do you want me to do? Because we're not closing any deals. I'm not closing any deals. And I literally remember being like, yeah, you're right. I got to take care of my people. And so I moved everyone again with that W-2 to a salary basis as well, plus commissions, plus bonuses. And today I'm a big believer in paying your people extremely well. And we'll speak on that because we're almost towards the present day. But 30,000 square feet office, hire the COO. We hire a head of HR. COVID is happening. I'm at Patrick Bet-David's SLS event in Miami, Sales Leadership Summit. I get a call from one of my guys, Shawn, head of HR, I won't say her name. She just cleared out the whole office. I said, why? One person in her office got COVID. And without asking me, without telling me, she emptied out the entire office on a random Wednesday, sent everyone home. And I'm like, what? Are you out of your mind? We have a business to run. Because this is in 2021. COVID started in 2020. Even in 2020, guys, I was the guy that they said you can only leave your house in Georgia for like if you had a special, like a necessary job. Like it was necessary for you to be out of your house. I made fake paperwork stating like, hey, they work for a net. And I made my guys keep them in their pockets. Hey, if you get pulled over, pull out this piece of paper. It has my number on it. When they call me, I'll be able to sell the cop on why you're out right now.
I'm an essential employee. We need to buy distressed real estate, officer.
Exactly. So literally, we didn't close during the peak of COVID. Why are we closing now? You know? And so, again, bad leadership in my company. This head of HR would literally go around my office asking people, are you vaccinated? Someone would say yes. They'd say, okay. Are you vaccinated? They'd say, no, I'm not vaccinated. She'd be like, you're not vaccinated? And I'm the CEO of the company, and I'm telling you, hey, our stance on vaccinations will be whatever you want to do is on you. We will not ask you about your personal health information. That was my stance, yeah. And they're going against me because they didn't respect me because of my age, even though I'm paying their salary.
Right.
Right, but it was the age thing. This kid doesn't know what he's talking about, right? Long story short, that blows up. 30,000 square feet office, all these overpaid suits that don't know this business, are not salespeople, don't know how to run a real business, right? They're just used to having assistants, executive assistants, the whole 9 yards. They don't know how to get in the weeds.
Yeah.
It blows up. And now I'm like 18, 19 at this time, right? Like 2022. 18 years old. And I literally remember picking up the phone and calling my attorney and being like, hey, am I supposed to file chapter 7 or chapter 11? And he's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And I'm like, bankruptcy. Which one's better for me to file? Is it chapter 7 or chapter 11? Because I can't pay my credit card bill. I have a $40,000 a month office lease that I'm personally guaranteeing. I can't pay any of this stuff. Which one do I file? And he said, are you serious? You're at this point? And I was at rock bottom. Like literally, because my thing was I sold myself. And I think this is where you can go wrong, is sometimes people sell themselves, oversell themselves. And I'd oversold myself. I said, it doesn't matter if we're spending $200,000, $250,000 a month. All we have to do is just make more money, just do more sales. And that was my logic every month was whatever we're spending, we'll just do more sales. We'll just do more sales. If we lost money one month, I would just say, okay, no problem. We'll just do more sales next month. And that literally, all that 40% net on the 2 million the year prior, eviscerated in 2022. Eviscerated. End of 2022 comes around, that summer. What happens that summer of 2022? Interest rates go through the roof. And I'm sitting there like, holy shit. And that's where literally the interest rates went up and I fucking crashed. Deals aren't moving. No buyers are there to be found. The hedge funds are out, right? The hedge fund days are over. The days of us getting a deal, me picking up the phone and selling it in 60 seconds are over. And I'm looking around like, what just happened?
During this period, like Q4 that year and Q1 the next year, 60% of wholesalers went out of business. 60%. That's our estimate.
Wow. People committed suicide. It was that level. Like our industry literally got flipped upside down overnight when that interest rate spike happened. And went to ground zero, had to trim a lot of the fat. Leadership team walked out on me, went and started their own business, doing the same thing, wholesaling. And now you ask me, hey, well, now you can enforce it, right? You got everyone on W-2. Well, I was in a position where it was either I double back and we still try this business and I have enough money for leads, or I have enough money to pay an attorney to sue, but I don't have money to do both. Yeah.
Did you ever file bankruptcy, by the way, or no?
No, I didn't. So, and I thought I would have to sell everything, the whole 9 yards. Dude, I was this close.
Okay.
I'm literally asking. And there was something in my head that was just telling me, just keep fucking pushing. Do whatever you can. I'm like downsizing my apartment, saving wherever I can save.
Let's talk about this for a second. Are you living with your parents at this time? You're on your own.
I'm living on my own. And I had a Lamborghini. We missed the mark somewhere, but somewhere in between that time, I bought an orange Lamborghini that I still have to this day. I'm thinking, man, shit, I'm gonna have to sell the Lambo. I didn't even have to end up selling the Lambo.
Make a few bucks, buy the Lambo. No, but this is very important because I think a lot of people have a certain support and somebody for the encouragement to get in here. And it wasn't just like a self-realization. I got to keep pushing. Did your dad say, son, you're my son, be resilient? Who was that force behind you? So your mom said, son, I asked you to make $1 million, you've made $2 million. Now you're facing some hardships, typical in a beginning venture. And she says, son, keep moving forward. What transpired?
Dude, I was crying. Long story, I was crying my eyes out.
Okay.
I'm bawling out. I'm like, how did this happen? I'm just crying nonstop. My parents couldn't stand to see me in this state. Like I lost 30 pounds, like just depressed out of my mind. And they're like, no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Cut the expenses, cut wherever you can. And basically, I got resilient. I said, you know what? I'm a deal maker. Let's go make some fucking deals. pick up the phone, call the landlord, negotiate a lease buyout. I say, hey, look, let me walk scotch-free. I'll give you my 6-figure security deposit in return. They agree. I walk out of there. I'm making deals. We move into we go all the way back
to the 90s
to the WeWork, and we couldn't even afford the broom closet. We had to sit in the common. You know, the WeWork have the common areas. I brought my entire team into the common areas. We didn't have enough.
They probably hated you. You're just fucking pounding the phones.
No, but so many
in
guys,
the common area all day
people
long.
walked out on me. The non-believers walked out, but a lot of people, and I'll shout them out on this, like Dylan, who's my head of sales today, Chris, so many guys, my little brother Shazan, who was 16 at the time. Those guys stuck by me and believed in me and said, dude, we believe in you. We've seen what you've done. We've been with you for the journey. We believe in you. We're going to step up for you. We're in this together. And so we go to that WeWork and we literally just go back to the basics. No more spending $30,000, $40,000 a month on Google PPC. We're trimming it all back. We're going to go cold call and slowly build it back up. This is end of Q4 of 22, beginning of Q1 23. And by end of Q1 of 23, we had turned this thing around. The debts were there, but the debts all had negotiated deals in place. So I negotiated deals with all the debtors. Hey, here's how it's going to be. You know, hey, put me. I'm willing to pay interest. You know, credit cards, all that stuff. Was able to negotiate a deal with all the creditors. That's done. Q1 of 2023. Build it back up to a point where literally now I can move into my dream office. And I speak to my CPA about this to this day. He tells me this is a Harvard Business School, like case study review on like all the numbers and everything. Cause he's seen it, what you did, how you did it, the debts you were in, the expenses, how you were able to shift stuff around. It's literally a case study that needs to be studied. How fast I was able to just turn it back around, because literally people killed themselves over what happened in this industry.
I think that's a very good lesson for people to, you know, they look at it and think, oh, this guy just got in. He's probably got a wealthy dad. He had some money. It was just all, you know, Lamborghinis or Ferraris and he had this front. It's so important to look at the volatility and the hardships of every business and the stress and the anxiety and the panic attacks and the crime that you went through. People need to hear that.
And that's business. And people don't know what they don't know. That's the problem. And a lot of people, you have to be really careful where you consume education and knowledge these days. There's a lot of bad information out there today.
True.
Talk to the people about the restructuring of the debts. It's really important. So somebody says, I'm old, like this is very important to extrapolate for people because you had, you know, a lease. How long was that lease on the 30,000 square feet that you bought out?
I had another like 3 years left on it.
That's insane. So you had another over $1 million worth of debts, credit cards. How did you negotiate? So this is good for the people watching.
For sure. Called them up. Very simple. I said, hey, look, here's the situation. As you're aware, you know, I am in the real estate business. As you're aware, you know, interest rates have shot up. It's going to impact many economies, but none harder than my industry. And again, this is exactly verbatim what I told them. And I'm 19 years old at the time. And I'm like, you know, with that being said, I am in serious contemplation and discussing with counsel to potentially file for bankruptcy. And, you know, I'm sure you're aware of how that process works. But rather than filing bankruptcy, in the interest of both you and I would prefer to see if there's a deal we can negotiate for me to be able to pay you guys back in installments or negotiate a deal, rather than me filing bankruptcy and you potentially never realizing any of the cash. How about you realize 50% of the capital over a certain period of time? Is that something that you guys would be interested in? Otherwise, if you guys don't agree, I will just file for bankruptcy and we'll see in 7 years if you get your money or not. And I'm pretty sure you won't.
Well stated.
And they
That's
understood.
really important for people.
Understood because you have to paint the picture. As you're aware, interest rates have spiked up. It's gonna, you know, hit every single industry, but none harder than the industry of your tenant. You know, and so.
But you're tackling the problem straight on. A lot of people like to deflect hardship.
Or don't pick up the phone.
Your approach is pick up the phone, communicate, negotiate. In fact, you were, most people perceive you to be in the underdog and they have the leverage. But in this circumstance, you flip the switch due to the bankruptcy, understanding the law, being resilient, being the salesman, where now all of a sudden you have the leverage, even though you're in debt.
And Zach, that comes from, and this is a big key, this is my number one key of why I've been able to be successful, is most people spend all their time focused on real estate education, wholesaling, versus I spend all my time learning business education.
Smart.
Number one book recommendation I make to everyone, 10-day MBA.
10-Day MBA.
10-Day MBA. Great book.
Link that down below.
Great book. Read it cover to cover. I was reading business books while others were focused on getting, fake guru wholesaling courses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was looking at Harvard Business Review,
Smart.
Wharton. That's the type of stuff I was studying.
Yeah.
And so that gave me that knowledge and information to be able to say, okay, how am I going to go talk to these guys?
Yeah.
How am I going to convince them to work with me? And that's all I ask for.
Sure.
And the reality is that people, creditors, they will always work with you. That is their job is to work with you at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah.
And I told them, look, charge your interest. Put me on a plan. That's all I want. Because I knew I would rebuild. I knew I was going to be back. 2023 quarter one ends. We build it up 6 months, right? So 2022, at like quarter three of 22 to quarter one of 23, it was a little bit more than 6 months. It was hell. Like depressed out of my mind. Again, lost 30 pounds the whole 9 yards. But by end of Q1 of 23, I had reestablished our company. We move into Buckhead. Fast forward to today, we're in Salesforce Tower. We're the only non-$100 million company in the entire building. We're on the 22nd floor. We oversee the entire city in Buckhead. We get views of Midtown, the whole 9 yards. Class A office building. Youngest tenant by far, obviously, for my age. And got a great team of absolute savages that believe in the mission, that understand what we're doing. And I genuinely have a plan for every single person in my office right now. I'm aware of what they are looking for in life. Like, that's what I'm talking. Now, after all that trauma, I've learned so much. They're expensive lessons, but at the end of the day, they are lessons. And they've caused for a tremendous amount of upgrades in my life when it comes to leadership, philosophy, how to truly be a leader, how to not be the Instagram CEO in your bio, but actually be a chief executive officer of a company.
What do you think some of those top lessons are that you learned going through all that?
I think the biggest thing is, that golden rule is always there, man. Like, you got to treat people how you want to be treated. Yeah. But when it comes to running a company, a successful company, you can't just look at it for how does everything benefit you? How does it benefit your company? You have to tie in your company's goals, your goals, with the people in the 100%. Company's goals. I tell everyone on my team very clearly, it is my job to worry about you. I'm going to take care of you. The company will go above and beyond to take care of you. Management, our leadership team will go above and beyond to take care of you. We just want you to reciprocate that, and you take care of the company. And I tell them straight up, guys, let's logic. We have 3 senior management in our company. If the 3 senior management team focuses their entire time focused on the rest of you guys, the 15 of you guys, and in return, because we're taking care of the 15 of you guys, you 15 take care of the company, that's a foolproof deal. That's the deal I want to play in, because now there's 15 people looking out for the best interest of the company, and in return, the 3 managers, leaders in the company are looking after you guys.
You don't have your COO still, do you?
No.
Right.
We have our director of operations, and this is the other thing, promoting from within. Yeah. I think it's so critical. Start them at the bottom and work their way up. They appreciate it more. They understand the struggles. These suits don't understand this industry. They just don't. And so our director of ops, she's been with us. She's going to celebrate her 4-year company anniversary with us coming up here in December. She's seen everything. Our head of sales, Dylan, he's going to be coming up on 3 years. These guys started at the ground level. Dylan started cold calling in our office, not even on acquisitions, and worked his way up. This guy was $30,000 in debt, driving a $1,000 car. Today, he buys whatever he wants. Him and his wife have the nicest car. They just had a child. They're buying a house. He's buying his dream car, like living the life. He'll make multiple 6 figures this year. And we've been able to do that out of my operation. And I think it's so critical because, again, like I said, the whole focus when you're growing and scaling a company, if you're going to do it with a team, it needs to be how does this benefit that person? And I tie in all of our company's goals to how does this benefit you? Guys, we're trying to do this, but here's how this benefits you, right? I always tie in that here's how it benefits you. And that gets the buy-in. Another thing we did was we started looking into data. We took a Robert Wensley playbook. We went deeper into our data, our metrics. How can we drive our salespeople just by using metrics? Today, when you look in our CRM, when everyone logs in the morning, you see every one of the company's revenue produced for the year. You see every one of the company's lead to contract rate, contract to close rate, average deal size. And it's on a leaderboard in our custom built Salesforce that we built out. And so when they log in every morning, it's fun. The data and the metrics are automatically fostering competition without you having to do anything. right? And then mixing that in with identifying what a successful avatar looks like in our business. When you scale a business, it's very important, again, honing in on the data and looking at, hey, what does a successful person look like in my organization? And so what we identified over the years of having all this data is like the character traits of someone who's successful in our business and the background that we look for is ex-athlete or military veteran. Guys, we have filled our entire office with ex-athletes and military veterans. What do we get with that? And what did I lack when I was scaling my businesses? Guys that didn't have loyalty, they didn't have respect, they didn't have discipline. They didn't have discipline. And what did we get with the ex-athletes who couldn't go on summer vacation because they had to play out football three months in the summer?
Aspect still.
You get the competition, you get the teamwork, you get the loyalty. The military veterans, what do you get? You get the leadership, you get the discipline. We have today filled our entire office. Our best players by far, all of them, bar none, are military veterans and ex-athletes. We have filled our entire office with that. Wow. And we have this true iron sharpens iron mentality where now when people come into our office, they're automatically successful or they're vetted out before anyone lands on my desk for them to be fired. No one gets fired in our operation. The team internally, and Steve Jobs talks about this, it's self-policing. Steve Jobs is my idol, by the way. I worship that man. If there's one person I can bring back from the dead, it's not family members. It's Steve Jobs. Like
it's fucked up.
Sorry, Grandma.
Fully embodiment. Like I love Steve Jobs down to a T. And so he talks about all the time. Once you build that core foundation properly, and you're able to instill your core values, and it's 10 times easier to do that when you identify your avatars and you have the data to back it up, then there's this form of self-policing that happens in your organization where no one gets fired. If they're not good enough, they're automatically weeded out. Like our savages on our sales floor will literally turn to a guy to their left or right if they're not kicking ass and say, yeah, you're not meant for this, buddy. You need to get the fuck out of here because you're costing me money because I'm looking at our sales force right now. My lead to contract rate right now is 10-1 and yours is 30-1. So literally, if I just take your leads, I will make like double the money by doing nothing else, by just taking the leads that the company gives you every day. And if I work those, self-policing now is happening in our office. The iron sharpens iron mentality is so real in my office that my 17-year-old brother who just turned 18 in May, last month for the month of May, did 17 contracts. He locked up 17 deals. We're at a 50% contract close rate, which Robert always gives me shit for. But 50% on a high volume like that is good enough for me, Robert.
What is how many deals did you last month? Like
last month we locked up like 53 and we probably closed on like 20 something. Yeah. 53
what's the
properties
average
under contract.
assignment
Average
fee?
assignment fees between 18 to 22K. Usually.
That's great.
But my
so you're right at
$500,000
$500,000 a month and track for about $6 million gross.
Yep, exactly. It'll come out to be $5 million because Q4 does get really slow for us, but our goal is $4 to $5 million a year consistently.
So why do you think, with all the competition out there, obviously you didn't invent wholesale, it's been around forever. Why is your team so good? Why are you guys getting deals?
So I think what sets us apart is we tune out all the noise. If I'm being honest, we don't listen to the sales gurus that are in the space, whoever you want to talk about. Robert's great friends with all of them.
That's just for social media.
Right? Yeah, diplomatic.
Robert's real.
Yeah. So we tune out all the noise. We have developed our own sales process from scratch. We do things very differently. We bring a very car salesman-esque approach to the business. And I know a lot of people have this stigma towards used car salesmen. I have the utmost respect for used car salesmen. I think it's so entertaining watching them sell.
Do you actually sit on the floor yourself and call or no?
No, I don't. I haven't done that in years.
So what are you doing on the daily to enhance revenues? And we'll get back to your success.
So our leaders, our structure, our corporate structure today looks like me as CEO. We have our director of operations. She oversees our transactions department with our 2 transaction coordinators. We have our head of sales. Under head of sales, you have our acquisitions department. We have our acquisitions department. We have our dispositions department. He oversees all of that stuff. He's out there overseeing, second voicing calls, picking up the phone as the finance manager, the whole 9 yards. My job now is to oversee the growth of the company, make sure we're a profitable business. And so my day-to-days consist of talking with our CFO, who we have, who I'd love to speak about, and how I went about hiring him. But, look, coordinating things with our CFO, being aware of where the market's going, R&D, getting into different markets. And then what I'm really passionate about is our marketing. Okay. And so that is where I have my hand on. We'll never bring in like a CMO or anything like that. Like I will be the marketing guy for our company. And so I'm very passionate at looking at all these conversion rates and then overall looking at the health of the business and then consulting with our leaders. I think a good leader takes himself out of the operation and focuses on what he is good at, and where he is not good at, he seeks consulting. 100%. And so I consult, I gather all this knowledge, I read a lot, and I take that information and knowledge and I consult with our leaders within our business on how they can run the business better. We look at conversion rates, we look at all these metrics, we make decisions based on them on a day-to-day basis. What markets we're going to go into, what do our lead conversion rates look like? I'm adjusting budgets for our digital advertising. How many cold callers do we need, the whole 9 yards? And so that pretty much that, and on top of that, where we're going in terms of growth right now is, I'm getting into the capital raising business. We truly see ourselves as being, and when I say we, I talk about everyone in our company, because I truly believe anyone who works in our company, down to whoever's making the least amount of money in our company, we're all partners in this. We're in this together. Okay. And I actually created a deal, which is for anyone that sticks in our company for 5 years plus, you automatically get equity. I don't care if you're the janitor in our business. Like if you're in our company for 5 years, you're getting equity in our business.
Why are you capital raising? What's that going to do for you? Sounds like you're self-generating.
So the next play for us is to create a fully vertically integrated real estate business.
Okay, so you want to start actually cherry picking deals, taking equity, them down.
Exactly. Okay. So we want to we have this whole vision, which is, the name of our company is Ember Homes. And, I bought the name Ember Enterprises. And our goal is to create a complete A to Z real estate process and solution.
Why Ember? Like a little spark?
That's just, so before Ember, I had Fire Kicks ATL, and then I did Fire Ticks ATL when I was doing tickets. For some reason, I always gravitated towards Fire. Ember was a classy, elegant name that I liked, and so I just rolled with it. And literally our goal now is to create an A to Z fully vertically integrated real estate process from the data to the to the underwriting of the asset, to the acquisition of the asset, to the disposition of the asset, to the property management. And to run that whole thing, I want to raise capital to be able to purchase the assets. We'd manage them in-house, the whole 9 yards. We have Ember Construction that does all the construction, all vertically integrated, all under one roof. So that is where we are angling towards. We're going to use our expertise in acquiring deeply discounted properties and bring them in-house, but do it the proper way. And we'll always have a wholesaling division, because I do believe in wholesaling for the long haul. I do think it's a cash cow business, and we will always focus predominantly on scaling that business. But that is something that I do on the side, is I'm starting to get into the capital raising, especially for situations like the South Carolina situation that we're all aware of that's coming up.
You're going to have to close on the assets.
You're going to have to close on the assets. Yeah. And so that takes capital raising. And so if I can go overseas and acquire capital at rates lower than what private money lenders in America give it to you, because they see the upside in investing in America.
Arbitrage.
It's for overseas investors, America is still a safer market than some of these other markets.
Where specifically are you going to penetrate?
Well, I have a background in Pakistan. I'm half Pakistani, and I'm going to speak on, one thing that I did that really saved us during the interest rate spike that I haven't gotten a chance to speak on. But over there and, other areas in the Middle East as well, where they truly believe in the American market, I'm going to go bring capital from over there and invest it over here, deploy it into the operation we have running. But Zach and Robert, one thing I didn't touch on, which I think it's so important to touch on, the call center.
Mm-hmm. Huge.
That really saved my business, guys. That was one thing that we didn't discuss.
You're partners with Eric Klein.
Which I'm partners with Eric Klein, and I'd love to touch on that.
You guys have a similar, you and Eric have two peas in a pod in terms of their energy.
Dude,
and they're fucking amped up.
We enjoy our time together.
I saw you snorting coke right before this thing started. I was like, bro, it saves, I don't want you passing out on the couch, those lines. No. I'm kidding. It's natural. Do you even take caffeine, or do you wake up like this?
I'm nothing. I'm all natural. I've never had a sip of alcohol. I've never even tasted nicotine. Nothing. I'm completely 100% natural. And so, but anyways, so during this time, call center, I have I have 30 cold callers in Egypt. Yeah. And I'm stroking a 5-figure check every Friday. Mm-hmm. And that was a big part of why I went under, because I was overpaying for bad marketing in Egypt, and I'm overpaying out the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm a sales guy, and this real estate business, it's sales and marketing. We do everything virtually. It's basically a call center already. Let me go using your situation to your advantage. I speak the language. I speak the language in India, which is spoken by 1 billion people. Hindi, and Pakistan it's Urdu. It's the same language because Pakistan and India used to be one big country. Yeah. So and Pakistanis and Indians make up 1 billion people. A billion. So 1 out of every 8 people speak this language. Listen, let me use this to my advantage. Fly over to Pakistan. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I say I always, cold calling was, when I did that $2 million in 2021, it was 100% cold calling.
Yeah.
Nothing else. We just did cold calling. And so cold calling is my bread and butter since day one.
Yeah.
Fly over to Pakistan. I have no idea what I'm doing. I start calling up local real estate agents in Pakistan. I'm like, hey, I need an office.
Did you have any family or anyone over there?
So yeah, so I had my dad used to be the Pakistani American Chamber of Commerce president.
Oh, perfect.
So he had resources over there that I was able to tap into. It was huge. Yep. Ginormous. Yep. I could not have done this without those resources and those contacts, for sure. Give him credit for that. But didn't know what I was doing. Start calling around real estate agents. I'm like, hey, I need an office, but it's going to operate from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. So imagine you going and looking for a commercial office here in Arizona, in Scottsdale, and telling the landlord, hey, the building needs to be open from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. because I have to match America time.
Sure.
Right? And people are turning me down left and right. Long story short, we find an office. Before I can even sign the lease, I contract malaria. I get hospitalized for 10 days. They're about to have to I got bit up like mosquitoes, like 12 mosquito bites. Like,
you shouldn't have brought all that cologne over there. I mean, you smell really good.
Fishing out dollar by dollar out of the pool. Well, if you feel stuck, come to Investorlift, where you can get a stack load of cash at once. $30,000 per assignment. Let's make some money.
Mosquitoes are attracted to that scent.
So, dude, like, I get malaria, get hospitalized. They're about to have to do a blood transfusion on me, the whole 9 yards. I go through the ringer. Recover from that, find the office lease, get on Indeed over there, because that's all I know. I know Indeed.
Yeah.
Get on Indeed over there, LinkedIn, literally like poaching people like in Pakistan that work for American companies already, calling them up manually from scratch, building this thing. Don't even have an office. I'm interviewing people at like a coffee shop and like convincing them to come work for me. Long story short, we put it all together. We sign an office lease, hire a management team. I teach them what wholesaling is. I create a whole training model for our cold callers. Hey, here's what you're going to do. Here's the script. I train them. I hit the phones. Everyone watches me, the whole 9 yards. And by the time I had left Pakistan, we had 30 people in a call center, and the cost was significantly less than what I was paying in Egypt. Because again, vertical integration, and I talk about this a lot. Where you can and where it's beneficial for you, vertical integration is worth it. You know? And again, this was out of necessity. Obviously, if I wasn't getting scammed and people weren't stealing my leads, I maybe wouldn't have gone over there and done this. But this was out of necessity. It was a cost-saving move as well. It saved me a lot of money.
Did you put cameras up, in there so that you could watch them from the
security
States
cameras, and I would
that?
literally, I have an app still on my phone, and I'll show you.
Cool.
I can just watch from the States. The microphones are in the camera, so I can literally talk in any room. We set up a whole Zoom call thing with a big TV and a camera and a microphone.
And they're only working for you. You can see the leads coming in. Vertical integration to me is quintessential. I mean, to me, it's like, unfortunately, I trust nobody. So when everything is in your control, you're mitigating a lot of risk.
And so, and I know we got a lot of fun stuff planned. There's some segments planned, so I'll try to speed it up here. But so fast forward, call center's up and running. Business is back on track. We're killing it. We're crushing it. 2023 was the recovery year for us. By end of 2023, we really started kicking it up into high gear, like towards end of quarter three. End of quarter three from 2023 to end of quarter three 2022. That was kind of the rebuild. We rebuild, we're crushing it. We're back to $250,000, $300,000, $350,000 months. Our team is living it up. I'm raising everyone's salaries. I'm incentivizing more commissions. And I told my team, and I say this to this day, my goal is to make sure that my team is compensated at a level where you don't want to do this by yourself.
Right.
Love that.
I truly believe as a CEO, I get fired every day. And what I mean by that is every time a seller declines an offer from our company, I, as CEO, did not enhance our product suite good enough for there to be an offer that classified well enough for a buyer or a seller, in this case, to be interested in the product we have for sale. And that's on me. My product suite wasn't enhanced enough. I didn't give my sales guys everything possible for them to close a deal. So every time a seller says no to an offer from us, I got fired. Every time someone quits on our company, I got fired. right? CEO is a very difficult position to play.
Yeah.
It is not as easy as just putting CEO in your Instagram bio to look cool. It's a real, you're employed by this company. I tell everyone, I'm an employee of this company just like you. The only difference between you and I is I unfortunately have to get fired on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That's really real. And so literally every day I am on my toes to be the best version of myself and work as hard as possible, because I know and I understand it is as equal as this for my guys in our office, for it to be a pleasure and a privilege for them to work at this company. Likewise, it is a privilege for them to be a part of this company. I truly believe I have some of the most savage professionals in the entire industry. I'm going to put, like, on our top closers, dude, I'll put $10,000 behind them, put them up against any single closer in the industry. We just close differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We bring in that car sales strategy to it. When we're talking to sellers, we're talking about, look, Mr. Seller, I don't know if you're aware of this right now, but your school score is a 4 out of 10 in the house you're at right now. I understand you're looking to move, but you're giving me a bit of a hard time here on the negotiation. Mr. Seller, look, I'm giving you $300,000 for your property. Did you know just a mile, 2 miles east of your property, that neighborhood, properties are going for around $300,000 range. So the same amount of money I'm giving you for your house. But you're in a 4 out of 10 school score district right now. That's what it says online. East 2 miles away, that school district of the houses that you would be staying in for the same amount of money is a 9 out of 10. Mr. Seller, forget the house. Forget, you want to downsize, whatever it may be. I'm giving you the opportunity for no additional cost to double the quality of your children's education. How much is that worth to you? You're nickel and diming me over $20,000. You're at, $320,000 for the property. I'm giving you $300,000. Mr. Seller, forget the 320 versus the 300. Are you telling me your children's education is worth less to you than $20,000? That's really $20,000 is more important to you than your child's education?
But Mr. Shawn, I'm 73 years old and I don't have kids.
Well, then I'm not using the school score objection on you, Zach.
But you have this really good
know?
skill of coming up with like really
unorthodox
good
rebuttals.
Right.
Yeah. You shared one last time you were over here. You shared we were talking about how we were struggling. Some of the guys on the team were struggling with making the initial contact. And you said, I will teach you a trick on how to get anyone to call you back in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Can you share that?
Yeah, sure. It works like a charm. All my guys do in my office. I don't know why more people don't do this. It's genius. You pick up the phone and it's ringing and you get that, we're sorry, the person you're talking to is not available. Please leave a message after the tone. And most people just hang up and say, all right, I'll call him back later. We actually go through the voicemail, but here's how we do the voicemail. Zach, what's going on, man? Hey, it's Shawn with Ember Homes. Hey, I got some great news for you. Hey. And just hang up the call.
Right.
And I kid you not, literally 50% of the time they call back in 5 minutes, because when you hang up, you go, hey, I got some great news for you. Hey, and you just hang up the phone.
They want to know.
What? Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
What's the good news? I need to know what the good news is right now. They pick up the phone. Shawn, I got your message. What's going on? Mr. Seller, I approved you for this offer for your property. I needed to speak to you about it. And boom, here we go. Literally, it works like a charm. I don't know why more people don't do it. We do it. It works really good for our office. Our connect rates go up through the roof when we do the strategy. We do it on every voicemail we do.
Great takeaway for the audience. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Leave everyone on a cliffhanger.
Oh, one that I do a lot with buyers is if it's a really good buyer, I'll shoot them a text. I'm like, hey, this is Robert from Investorlift. I see you're active in Scottsdale, Arizona. Would love to talk to you about purchasing a property they have off market. Now, and then you call them, because when you send them the text, you're giving yourself a soft intro. But the beautiful thing is when you say, hi, this is Robert, then when you call them on the iPhone, shows up as maybe Robert.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smart. That's great.
That's a good one, too.
That one trick. That one trick, we implemented it on Tarek's team.
Yeah.
The initial contact rate went up 20%, which on that business was millions of dollars.
Wow. For sure, because I get 10 million spam calls a day. Possible spam. You're right, or the maybe so-and-so. And it's like, oh, it's a contact in here. There's got to be some relevance.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't actually have to write out the text. We had it programmed into the system. So as soon as the lead gets assigned, it programmatically sends the text 1 minute before the call is queued.
Yeah.
So every single call has got one of those texts and it's showing up as maybe
Amazing.
We're dropping some game here, guys. If you appreciate this game, like these are some of the tricks that like we keep, like tricks like this I've been keeping up my sleeve in case everyone go back and wholesaling. But you know what? This is 11 out of 10 podcast. We like to drop games, so we're dropping some game for you guys.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But so call center, right? It's going and
You started with 30. You got
start with 30 guys, and I get out of there. I come back here. We're crushing and wholesaling.
Yep.
Fast forward, I'm in a mastermind, and this is kind of where Eric Klein and I got introduced to each other. I'm in a mastermind with Eric, and we're always looking for takeaways when it comes to masterminds. We're looking to see how we can realize the investment we've made. And so for me, I got introduced to Eric, and we just hit it off. Like that natural chemistry was there, the energy, like, dude, what's going on? Like we both have that energy about us. And I start, just sharing my story and where I'm at and where he's at, because we got started relatively around the same time. And he hears me speak, I hear him speak, that kind of a deal. And I tell him what I'm doing numbers wise. He tells me he was not believing me just because of how young I was. Same thing that Robert was,
I was
right?
like, no way.
Yeah. And so we introduce each other and we stay in touch. We get each other's numbers, follow each other on Instagram, that kind of a deal. Fast forward, a good buddy of mine who does not get enough credit in this industry, Donovan Ruffin, who's an OG
guy
in the business. I think you two gone to a lawsuit together and won or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The buyer was circumventing.
Yeah.
And we called him out publicly, and then he filed a defamation suit against Donovan and I.
Wow.
And of course, that didn't go very well for him.
Yeah, no, Donnie, I love Donnie for that thing. He's public about it. Like if there's a problem or he thinks you're a bad person, shady person, he goes public with it.
Yeah, it wasn't either of our deal. It was Chris Jefferson, but we just both of us, we don't tolerate bad business.
Yeah.
So if we see bad business, we'll call you out.
And so that dude has been a great friend of mine for a while. And he was doing an event in Atlanta, which is obviously my backyard. He invited me out to speak. And Eric was also one of the speakers because Eric's right uptown in North Carolina. And so Eric flew in that morning and he goes, hey, I'm in Atlanta for this event. You're speaking, I'm speaking. And the event's at night. I have nothing to do. You mind if I come to your office? And for him, he wanted to verify, because Eric's that type of guy too. He likes to call out the phonies and the fakes. I'm that type of guy too. So I totally got it. So I invite Eric to my office. He comes in. First of all, the reason why we're in Salesforce Tower is when you walk into my building, before you even hit my office suite, you're already sold on whatever I'm selling you. Because it is a Class A office space.
This is something people don't understand. Like I'm looking only at Class A because I look at the office space as the number one recruiting tool. I could get a $10,000 a month office and it'll attract some B players. But if I want that A talent, like your office is where you're spending the most time.
Yes, more than
when
your
you're
home.
at home, you're sleeping most of the time. But most of your waking hours are spent in the office, and people want to spend their time in a nice space that inspires them and it feels good. So I look at it as the number one recruiting tool.
1000%. I think it says it's a direct correlation and reflection of who you are, where you're on your business, and where you're trying to go. Your office.
Don't buy a Lambo. Sorry. Buy a good office for your people.
I agree.
Or buy both.
Try to do both.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I invite Eric to my office. He shows up. He's already impressed because of the nice office we're in. But he gets there and he tells this story better than I will, obviously, because it's from his point of view. But literally, I remember him walking in and he turns the corner from my lobby and onto my sales floor and bang. It's just, he describes it as like, hey, it was like a Wolf of Wall Street boiler room. Like people are just on the phones, running around, moving around. It's just that energy was there. And he was like, dude, you're a legit player. And the thing about me is we have all of our numbers. We have TV screens on our entire sales floor that's actively real-time tracking contracts, deals closed, revenue sold for the month, everything. And you can't
you're no bullshit.
That.
You're like, hey, I got this many deals. I do have a 50. You don't bullshit. Hey, I got 50% contract follow rate, but I still got 26 deals across the board.
Exactly.
You guys run the same kind of synonymous back-end system where because he goes live all the time. Hey guys, I got 8 million this year, this and that. So it's good.
And so he knew, okay, we got something here.
Yep.
Eric was, doing cold callers in Egypt at the time.
Yeah.
I'm out of Egypt at this point in the game when he comes to my office. He real recognizes real. He acknowledges, dude, you're legit. We're doing the same type of thing. Our model is very similar, the whole 9 yards. He's like, dude, tell me where you're getting your leads. And I'm like, dude, I have my own office in Pakistan. I built out, fully done for my company to generate leads for the wholesaling industry. So, dude, Pakistan, how's the English over there? How's the accent?
Yeah.
Is it converting? I'm like, dude, here's a list of calls. Just point to a call and I'll click play and you just listen to the recording. You tell me what you think. I'm clicking play and he's shocked. He's like, that's in Pakistan?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like he couldn't believe it. And so we're going through these recordings. He's like, dude, I have a call center in Egypt right now. I'm not happy with what's going on down there. You know, there's a lot of politics involved, the whole 9 yards. And I'm looking to own my own thing. I don't want to be involved with white label or any of that stuff. I want direct control of my call center. It needs to be fully built out for my business. And I want to make sure that my students and my community get the highest quality. And for them to get the highest quality, I need to have direct control at this point in the game. I care too much about my brand to white label a service where I'm not directly involved on the back end and the front end. So I'm looking to invest into a call center that I can own. That way I can protect my brand and make sure I'm delivering the highest quality in the market.
Yeah.
And he goes, Shawn, like, if you're interested, let's partner up. What did you pay for the call center? I told him, hey, here's what I've invested in the call center. He strokes me a check. He says, dude, we're 50-50 partners now. And I said, dude, let's go. And literally, this is why our call center, I truly believe, is the best call center in the industry. And of course, I have a bias, but
hold on. Let me try to understand something.
Sure.
I understand you guys are partnering, but you guys have your own separate companies.
Yes.
How doesn't that water down your opportunities? How do you decide which leads are which? How do you guys divide that up?
The beauty about it is he bought his own data. Eric's very absentee owner based, whereas I'm very owner occupied based. So it actually worked pretty well in the beginning stage, especially. He sent his data to our call center manager. I sent my data to our call center manager, and we're just running our own things. They send the leads. Whatever generated from Eric's list, they're sending to Eric's office. Whatever's generated from my lead list, they're sending to my office.
But it's equal time. If you're 50-50,
they're
spending 50% of the time, 50% of the time.
Yeah, and we're recruiting, right? So it's like, hey, Eric's like, hey, I want this many callers for my office. I'm like, hey, I want this many callers for my office. And that's how many people we're putting in our office over there.
Got it.
Right? Because we just hire based on demand.
Sure.
Right? So we hire out and it's running great. And then, Eric's got this community. He's got this coaching thing going on the whole 9 yards. And he's like, we're going to bring this out to the masses. And this is why we're the best call center in the country right now. We're growing at a super rapid pace. The reason for it is whereas most call center owners and people that are in the call center space, that's their business, call center.
Yeah.
Our call center was first designed for mine and Eric's wholesaling operation. There's no fluff.
Yeah.
We didn't look at this as, hey, we're going to, have all these clients the whole 9 yards. This call center was first built out for my wholesaling operation that does multi-7 figures and Eric Klein's wholesaling operation that does multi-7 figures. Yeah. So it's literally, you're getting what mine and Eric's brainchild was for a call center. You're getting that when you buy a cold caller from us. You're not getting some shady, Egypt or Philippines, and nothing against those countries, but you're not getting something where, they don't have a deep understanding of the wholesaling industry and what a lead truly is and what it takes to close a deal. You're not getting that with those guys. Eric hops on the phone every Monday and trains our cold callers. Yeah. Every Monday, he's doing trainings. Every Friday, I'm doing trainings with our callers. We're invested in this. We're taking time every week out of all of the other business ventures we have going on. Eric's literally hopping on the phone every Monday for an hour, training our cold callers. Friday, I'm hopping on training our cold callers. Me and Eric and Shyla, his wife, we're hopping on Zoom calls with our management team, going over, hey, how many people are we hiring this week? Hey, what's going on here? What are we going to work on? How are we hiring more managers, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, now we've built it into where we're now at like 250 callers in our office over there. That's just callers, not for all employees. We have, we just signed an office lease for a whole building, 15,000 square feet of just interior space. We're gonna be able to accommodate 500 people in that office.
Oh my God.
Like it's turned into a massive operation. It's truly a massive operation. Again, 15,000 square feet. And again, it just started with me and Eric. We do 1 million dials a day now. We call a million dials.
That's a million
so
Americans per day receive a call.
You've touched every house in the United States.
And we're in basically almost every market in the country. And we had someone speak at Andy Elliott's event yesterday.
Connor, this guy comes up like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
He was working at 9 to 5.
Yep.
And he comes up and he says, like, I quit my job. I did Eric's training. But the big thing for me was getting on Shawn's call center. He's like, that last year I made $80,000. This year, I think he said he had $500,000.
He got on stage and literally said, those cold callers from Run It Remote changed my life.
The guy was almost tearing up.
Wow. Tearing up about our cold callers.
If I went from 80 to $500,000.
Exactly. He's tearing up about cold callers.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's literally on stage.
Great.
He's pointing to the Run It Remote booth. He's like, Run It Remote cold callers changed my life. That's the only thing I've done for marketing. In 7 weeks, I have closed and funded $500,000, and I have another $370,000 in escrow, all from Run It Remote callers in 7 weeks. And I didn't even know about wholesaling. I just bought Eric's sales course, hired the cold callers, and boom. And he got emotional over it. Yeah.
I think one of the things you did well here, I think you had a big advantage because like you speak the language. This is not some random call center that someone found online and struck a deal with that they've never met in person. You went down there, you sat there at the coffee shop interviewing the initial core team. You went out there and looked for office space and found the right office. Like, and you and Eric are there, like you training them yourselves. They feel like they're connected to you. They're extension of the American team.
Exactly. Right. And that's the whole key to the whole business. Again, it was developed for mine and Eric's office. Right. And our motto is very clear. We don't agree with the way the traditional gurus do things. Gurus are still teaching people, hey, go drive for dollars. Our message is really clear to the industry. We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. And stop driving for dollars. And why don't we start picking up the phone and start dialing for millions? Doesn't that sound better? Stop driving for dollars. This isn't a dollar business. Pick up the phone, start dialing for millions. And again, what you're getting with our company is not just a cold caller. You're getting a fully managed, vertically integrated A to Z experience. And what do I mean by that? You're not just getting a caller. The cold caller calls and generates leads. They don't even take the notes. The cold caller then passes that lead on to a quality assurance department. Quality assurance department writes out all the notes after listening to the call recording. Then it goes to the client. Then if the QA says, hey, this lead's not good enough to send to a client, it goes to a lead effectiveness department. The lead effectiveness department recalls the seller, gets more info out of them, and then sends that lead to the client. Again, because this was built for Eric and I's operations.
You don't want shit coming through. You want actual
and that's why
leads.
We got guys like yesterday, and I hope we can get those clips on this video. But we have guys who are literally crying, teary-eyed, over a call center changing their lives because we truly understand this business. And we're in this business to this day. We're not going anywhere, and we're always going to believe that, hey, the real business, it's digital marketing is great. Driving for dollars may have worked in the past, bandit signs, etc. But our bread and butter for Eric and I, and we both truly believe this is, driving for dollars and all this stuff, side. Dial for millions. That's what we believe in. And that's why we started the call center. It's been great. It's saved my business. Eric's business completely changed after he got on the cold calling with cold calling's been his bread and butter since day one, just like me, but we've both seen tremendous results since we've, been running remote, and, everything that we've been doing now has been tremendous.
So I got to ask you this. You're obviously a visionary.
Yes.
Right. You said there's one person I could bring back of anyone. Sorry, family, but it's going to be Steve Jobs. Yes. So that really tells me you value vision.
Yes.
You're how old are you now?
I just turned 21.
21. What does this look like for you when you're 30? Where do you want to be when you're 30 years old? What does Shawn's empire look like?
I think it's a very interesting question, Robert. I think it's two things right now. I have a lot of people I want to take care of. People that have been loyal to me, I want to take care of.
Yeah, because you screwed up on that the first time, and you learned the lesson, and you're not making. I think one of the keys in great entrepreneurs is they make mistakes, but they don't make the same mistake twice.
You got to learn from the mistakes. And now I'm in the position where I understand, hey, the fool learns from his own mistakes. The genius learns from others' mistakes.
Yeah.
I really understand and embody that. And I try my best to learn from other people's mistakes. But
so you want to create jobs, take care of your people.
I want to create high-paying jobs. I want to say, hey, in a world of Instagram where everyone says you need to work for yourself and fuck a 9-to-5, I want to say, no. There's this concept of intrapreneurism where, and it's just as rewarding as entrepreneurism. You can be an entrepreneur in a company. You don't have to be the number one. In a lot of situations, the number 2, the number 3 guy can make more money than the number 1 guy. Yeah. And I'm saying, hey, anyone that sticks in my company for more than 5 years, you're getting equity. You're going to get that ownership experience if you stay loyal to me. So I have a lot of people I want to take care of. Where do I see myself in the next 10 years is we truly believe that the call center and what we've been able to do, how many lives we've been able to change, hundreds of jobs we've provided. We're boosting literally an economy. And like literally, I'm about to go in June. In 3 weeks, I'm going to Pakistan to do the ribbon cutting ceremony for a 15,000 square feet office. There's gonna be 500 people there, members of the media, all the big news publications will be there, magazines, the whole 9 yards. We're gonna have so much media attention on us. Hundreds of thousands of people will see.
And that'll attract a lot of top talent.
That'll attract a lot of top talent, which is exactly why we invited all the news outlets. And these news outlets in Pakistan get the same viewership that a CNN or a Fox gets here. That's how big deal this is going to be. Doing the whole ribbon cutting ceremony, inviting actors, politicians, head of police, the whole 9 yards to come out to this thing. 500 people will be there for the ribbon cutting ceremony.
This is out of the box thinking. Like, you know, who would think about doing stuff like that? Oh, we want to get the top.
The other thing it's going to provide is credibility for the people that's affiliated with you. So when they Google search your company or whatever, say, listen, we are a massive, you know, international real estate company.
And it's a BPO. It's a business process outsourcing business. And we see ourselves that Run It Remote will be more than just a call center for the real estate industry. We are taking over this space. We truly already believe we are the biggest real estate call center in the industry. Hundreds of companies already use our platform, and that we're growing rapidly. We're growing at what a healthy growth rate on an annualized basis looks like in most companies. We're doing that on a monthly basis. That's what we're doing because our product
what does that
works.
look like percentage-wise?
Percentage-wise, it's close to double digits a month.
Wow.
A month, Robert. You know what I mean? And this is not some small numbers that we're doing. These are big numbers. Why we're able to accomplish that is because we understand the business to its core, and we understand what it takes to improve. Right? And it's built out for our operations. And again, speaking on what I said earlier on, treat other people like you want to be treated. We treat every caller like they work for our operation. You know what I mean? Because honestly, we have callers in the office that do work for our operation. So we're going to obviously, you know, they're not segregated to a different side of the office. And then, you know, like they're all on a trading floor. They're all on a sales floor, right? So we go above and beyond for everyone because, you know, everyone, all of our clients, you know, those are our callers that we all share in the success here. You know, and so where I see myself again in 10 years, the Run It Remote will employ over 1,000 people. And we'll do that in the next 5 years. Easy. We'll employ over 1,000 people. We truly see ourselves as the premier BPO product, especially for the American market and especially for the real estate industry. But aside from the real estate industry, home services, solar, roofing, you know, even the automotive industry, we see ourselves as the premier business process outsourcing company for all those industries, serving not just the cold calling and the lead generation segment, but we see ourselves, hey, we can do your accounting. We have CFOs, guys that literally work for Ernst & Young, right? The biggest, the top 4 accounting firms in the world, right? PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. These same guys, like a lot of people don't know this, a lot of these guys used to work for these accounting firms. These accounting firms outsource to those countries anyways. Now and they pay the same thing we pay. So we just bring them in our office. And now you're getting top level CFO talent for a 1/10 of the price, right? For your business. Now the average small business can afford a CFO. And that what does that do to a small business? That changes the trajectory of a small business because now a small business gets access to what corporate America gets access to. You have to be at a certain level to afford a CFO. We're bringing on a daily basis affordability to what has traditionally been an industry where you cannot get affordability. We're bringing high level talent. We can have software engineers, web developers, blockchain experts, the whole 9 yards. The talent that we have access to, exclusive access to, is bar none the best talent I've seen. Highest work ethic over there. There are geniuses over there with PhD degrees, master's degrees. We can bring them into our office, put them in a facilitated environment, give them all the resources to be successful, and you can now outsource that same thing, and I can guarantee the same quality and the same results that you would get here in the States for a 1/10 of the cost. So we see ourselves being a 1,000-person organization servicing a true business process outsourcing organization, servicing many, many industries, all with a sales-related background because that's just who we are, and we want to work in industries where we understand how those businesses operate within. But that's the call center, Run It Remote. And then for Ember Enterprises and Ember Homes and Ember Capital Group, we see ourselves being a fully vertically integrated real estate company, predominantly always going to be focused in wholesaling, but we do want to raise capital, bring in multifamily commercial assets, residential assets, have the in-house property management team, have the in-house construction team, fully vertically integrate that. And we truly believe we can take that ultimately to $100 million a year in sales. And again, for people that understand real estate, you understand, hey, you know, $100 million in sales usually equates to like $10 million in assignment fees. And, you know, $10 million in assignment fees, you know, 40% of that will be net. So if you do $100 million in sales, you're probably taking home $4 million. You know, if you do $100 million in real estate sales, I usually say 10% of what you sell in terms of the value of the property, the value of the asset is what your assignment fee should be.
Yeah,
right. So on a $300,000 house, we want to make 30 grand. That's the ideal number, right? And so with that being said, $100 million in sales equates to $10 million in assignment fees. But we see ourselves overall being able to fully vertically integrate, bring the real estate brokerage in-house, have licensed agents working for us. Because again, with our expertise in lead generation, we have access to a surplus amount of leads that we can't do anything with at the current day. But a lot of real estate agents, that's where they struggle. They struggle in the lead generation, the business development side of this. And so we're able to connect the dots and bridge the gap and bring real estate agents in and give them this access to the surplus amount of leads that our company otherwise wouldn't have a use for. And we can now connect them and in return grow the enterprise value of the whole organization.
I think the agent model makes sense because the amount of leads you generate, the amount of calls, like you're literally going to call every household in America here in the next year.
In a year.
That seems like a no-brainer. The one thing I would be concerned about is vertically integrating on the construction side. Remember your first flip?
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
No.
Imagine, I've done it. Like I've worked on a team where we're doing 60 flips at a time. That is hard to scale.
I think that will be a small portion of what we can do. I think there's a lot in there. We can get into property technology, again, leveraging our Pakistan office.
I would double down on like that core thing that you're really good at, which is like, it's the turn and burn, sales, marketing, just scale that. Like,
and we're going to get into commercial. We want to get into multifamily assets, obviously to offset the tax bills that are coming. We want to be smart with that situation as well. And so looking into acquiring,
have you bought some rentals?
No, I haven't. I haven't. It's been something that hasn't interested me in a long time, but now our head of operations, she's getting a passion for property management, that kind of a deal. And so now that opportunity exists. I always tell everyone, I'm the type of business person that, most people bet on the horse. When you go to the Kentucky Derby, you're betting on the horse.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that invests in the jockey. I don't get into business looking at the model or the industry. What I look at is who's the operator. I bet on the operator. I don't bet on the business. I don't bet on the industry. I say, who's the operator that's going to be in charge of the business? Because I truly believe in any industry and in any business, you can be successful if you have the right operator. So while most people, 90% of the industry will bet on the horse, I bet on the jockey. And so when that opportunity comes up where there's a good operator involved, I put the money behind the operator and say, you want to go into business, you want to do this, I believe in you as the operator, we can do this business.
Right.
And that's the way business should be done. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, because again, a lot of people don't get proper business education and business knowledge, which is why this churn and burn in the wholesaling industry exists and why so many people go out of business, is because they don't understand how to build sustainability. They don't understand what consistency looks like. They don't know what it means to operate a true business.
Do you ever think about going into politics?
I do. So
You'd be such a good politician.
Nice governor of Georgia.
Zach is too kind, man.
10 years from now, I remember Shawn when he's in the real estate. Now he's like, president of the United States.
I want to be governor of the state of Georgia. I truly want to do that. I want to do that so bad.
You speak like a politician, your confidence, your engagement, your lessons. I could see that in your future.
Well, I appreciate that. Hopefully, if you're a resident of the state of Georgia at the time, I hope you give me your vote then.
I will not be a resident of the state of Georgia.
I'll donate to the campaign.
I'm happy to endorse you based on,
he's going to have his whole call center just like calling every house.
Yes,
totally.
Yes.
Are you guys aware of the new government election in Georgia?
Yes.
We just want to give you some knowledge of this gentleman.
Vertically integrate the political process.
Born and raised in the home state, brought a massive amount of revenue here.
The TCPA laws.
Yeah.
When you're doing calls and any messaging for politics, you're exempt.
Really?
You can send texts without opt-in. You can do calls to do not call. You're fully exempt.
Wow, I did not know that. Yeah. Well, that's good to know, because there will be a time where we'll need to know that for sure.
All right, we got some real estate Jenga.
Let's do it.
And some deal or no deal.
Let's go.
Okay,
I'm excited.
So real estate Jenga, how this works is each of these Jenga blocks has a question.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to pull a block, answer the question. Okay. That question might have been written by a previous guest, and then we got a block for you. What you're going to do is write your own question on it and sign the other side. Genius. All right, so go ahead and pull yourself
block.
Pull yourself a block. Anyone.
I'll go right here.
Right there.
Take one to where the building doesn't fall off. Right?
There you
go. Let's see.
All right, what do you got?
Where do you invest your money? Okay.
That's a good one.
Fair enough. Where do I invest my money? So currently, A lot of it is in, well, not a lot of it. Where I invest my money now is our businesses. You know, we're in actively growth mode right now in all of our businesses. And so that's where a good portion of the money goes, if I'm being honest with you. I try to keep my take home amount as minimal as possible. And I focus all of the capital that we get in on a monthly basis to reinvesting into our businesses to grow the infrastructure, that kind of deal. And then besides that, I play around in the stock market. It's like
you're a crypto guy. You look like a crypto guy.
No, I'm actually not.
No?
I look like a crypto guy because today, and Tony Mott's been giving me shit all day about the way I've been dressing this weekend, but like, I'm not even.
How do you dress?
I'm a button-up polo jeans type of guy. I'm like what Robert's wearing, but today, for some reason, I'm wearing red shorts and a red hat, and I have my prescription sunglasses on.
I think you're ready to go to a football game today.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so. Majority is in the companies. I dabble in the stock market. My guilty pleasure is cars and watches.
Yeah.
So definitely, whenever I get a good chance to pick up a nice watch.
What are you wearing today?
Today, I'm wearing a very sentimental piece to me. It's a Rolex Datejust Wimbledon dial. I got this watch when I officially became a millionaire. When I hit $1 million, 7-figure net worth, got this watch. It's very, very sentimental to me. It was also our company's 2-year company anniversary when I got this watch, so it means a lot to me. But you know, Omega, which is what you have on your wrist, I believe. I think it's the Omega is my favorite watch company on the planet. A lot of people don't know that, but
mine's a special piece. It came from my niece. It's about 20 cents. 20 cents.
Great. It looks like it's a limited edition. Is that a limited edition?
It's limited edition with love. That's for sure. But that's good. Let's rephrase this question. Let's assume you don't need to reinvest money. You're flush in liquidity with your business. Where would you then deploy? What asset class? Would it be equities? Would it be real estate? Would it be a venture internationally? What markets do you like at your age, and what's your perception of the economy?
I think at my age, going back to the comment I made earlier about good operators, I would actually look into buying businesses from boomers that are retiring. I think the way the population growth is going right now, there's a lot of boomers that are retiring. I think there's a lot of good business opportunities out there. And so I have looked into plans of acquiring good businesses and placing good operators, connecting
like what kind of businesses?
Automotive, anything that I have kind of a pulse to when it comes to like what I'm good at, which is sales and marketing. Right?
Yeah, so something you could leverage that call center.
And something where it's a lagging sector when it comes to technology infusion.
Really good answer. I like that.
Yeah, so a lagging sector when it comes to technology infusion. I'd say like the automotive industry is one where, they're traditionally very behind when it comes to technology infusion. And we can come in and kind of take that over. And again, the biggest thing is where I have the strategic advantages. I have a lot of good operators that I can place into these businesses. And I would literally give them equity. That's what I mean. I really want to change other people's lives. I want to give the people that are in my companies today equity in the businesses. I want them to be business owners with me because I truly believe I'd rather make less money, but share in the stress. I don't want to own 100% of the company because if I own 100% of the company, when the stress comes, I own 100% of the stress. I'd rather have 10 partners that I love and trust, but they've been with us and they earn the equity. So I know when those tough times come, we got 10 guys around the table and we can equally divide the stress, and I can sit back maybe a little bit and I can hear you guys kind of figure it out, and I can chime in, and it's way easier. And so, that would be my answer in terms of investing. And again, like I said, guilty pleasure, cars, watches. I have my Lamborghini Huracan, which I love and adore. I have my Range Rover SVR.
What color is your Lambo?
Orange. So it's an orange convertible, and I absolutely love it. It's summertime. I can't wait to finally drop the top and go crazy with it. And then I just got a message from Tesla yesterday. I know you got some Tesla guys in here. I just got a message from Tesla yesterday. My Cybertruck is ready for pickup this week.
Nice.
So I'm trying to figure out if I do I do it or not. I mean, I feel like I'm too far into it now.
Yeah, I got my message too. I'm
like,
do I do it? Do I do it?
Right?
I got Founders Edition.
It looks cool, but I don't know. I mean, to each his own.
I gotta go rent one on True, and
that's a great idea.
Just try it out for a few days.
Yeah, but I think I'm
dropping 100.
But why do you need 3 cars?
So I'll trade in the Range Rover.
Okay.
And then of course the Lambo is not a daily driver. The Cybertruck can be a good daily driver though, especially I'm the real estate guy. Anytime you gotta put some Home Depot materials in the truck.
Yeah, it's useful.
Why don't you just wrap it with your call center?
I would definitely do that. I think that's what I would do. I would get the Cybertruck and wrap it with the real estate company.
Yeah, it's probably over 6,000 pounds. So
it's
section 179.
179C. Yep.
Accelerated depreciation. Nice write off. All right, you gotta
go.
Yeah.
Come up with your own
question. And while you write your question, we're gonna pull up some deals. We're gonna play deal or no deal. Cool. And I think we should do Atlanta today. We got you're repping Atlanta.
Let's look at his own deals. See if he would buy.
You probably have half the deals.
Well, first, can we shout out my company and just pull up my company's listings real quick, if we don't mind?
Okay, give us do you know the address of one of your properties?
No, can we not look it up by company?
No, but if I can find one of your deals, I can click view all deals.
Go to buymyprops.com on Investorlift. It'll come up.
Buy My Props. Oh yeah, you have a branded.
We have a branded
cartel.
website. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
All right, buymyprops.com.
All over. So we got 86 currently active.
86 properties active.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yep. Play with my own.
What's your favorite market? Like, what's your?
I mean, our own backyard, I always love, but that's a bias, right? Georgia, just because I understand it so well. So I have a pulse on it. Recently, though, one really underrated market for us recently has been like Louisiana.
Okay.
And the reason for Louisiana and the Midwest, and the reason for that, guys, is because when we go over there and we're talking to sellers, what we've realized is they're not as sophisticated. And a lot of times they don't even know what Zillow is. They don't even know what his estimate is. They don't know what market value is. So when they're evaluating and they're negotiating with us, what they're looking at is, hey, I purchased the house for this amount. Are they paying me more, and how much profit am I getting on the house?
Interesting.
And so we literally picked up a house in Louisiana where we got it for $70,000. The estimate was $220.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so it's so much room there. And what they cared about is, hey, I bought it for $50,000. I'm making $20,000 profit. Let's do the deal. Wow. So that's been a good market.
But don't you feel like you're taking advantage of that standpoint? Just playing devil's advocate, right?
So I think America was built on capitalism. And so I think it's very important to understand and realize that. And also understanding that, hey, look, at the end of the day, we're focused, not predominantly, but obviously our niche is distressed housing. And so we're going to purchase the asset, and we're going to, someone's going to put in the work to fix that asset up and improve American neighborhoods.
Let's assume that they bought that for 50, but we know it's worth, 220 fixed up, and it only needs 20,000.
Sure.
If they ask you for 70, are you going to pay them 70? Or are you going to give them 100,000?
I'm going to pay them 70. I'm going to try to give them 60 because, again, America was built on capitalism. And when you talk about the biggest players in the country and how business operates and how our country was founded, right? The Native Americans were here before we got here, right? It's about capitalism. You know what I mean? It's about taking advantage of the situation, about the cards that you're dealt. And, that's what business is about. And again, what I go back to is this. When we're predominantly focused on distressed housing, us acquiring that asset for that much of a discount allows us to now put more money into the asset, which then makes it a much more premium living experience for the next consumer to come in. And we're creating now affordable luxury housing because our acquisition price is much lower. So the lower we can actually get our acquisition price, it allows us to now develop even more luxury living and luxury housing at a really affordable rate, which is benefiting more American families. And that's what I'm about. If we can benefit more American families by capitalizing on a situation where we can come in and acquire an asset for lower, which allows us to then in return invest more capital into the actual asset, which creates a more luxurious property at a more affordable price, I'm all for it. If one side's losing, the other side's got to win, And so at the end of the day, us acquiring the asset for that more of a discount is giving us the opportunity to now give someone else, that American family that moves into it, who's complaining about not having affordable housing, the opportunity to get a more affordable housing at an even cheaper price.
Based on what you're saying, because you're capitalistic, then you're going to sell that at retail. You're not going to discount it because you're going to buy. I'm just respectfully disagreeing because you're saying, you're going to over improve. The reality is you're paying less than what they want, even though you could afford to pay more.
Yes.
And what you're saying is you're all about the zero sum game, meaning one person wins, one person loses. Why not just create the opportunity where it's a win-win situation? Hey, Shawn, I really like 70 and you're going to offer me 60 versus, hey, ma'am, you know what? It's a really good day for us. We could actually give you 80. You can come out ahead. You could still make your $50,000 and you could still provide the American dream for affordable housing, given that opportunity for a family. Just saying.
We would love to do that, but what we also understand, especially in this market, is the cost of capital is what it is. And we also understand the risk tolerance. Right now, it's way more of a riskier market, and we have to factor that in because what a lot of people don't factor in, this is why a lot of people go belly up, is they try to be too nice, and then the market changes tomorrow, and now you're belly up because you try to be too nice. We have to factor in
I'm just saying on this particular situation.
Yeah, I'm just to be fair, you still have a 50% contract follow rate. So
we even factor that in as well.
Sometimes you run your numbers and you think it's this, and then you take it. There's times where I remember when I went to these secondary markets and in DC, if you buy something at 70 cents on the dollar, you trade it at 80. Then we go to Alabama and we buy something at 70 cents on the dollar, and the buyers are laughing at us. They're like, "No, we buy at 50 here."
Yeah, right.
So it's market by market, and
that's true as well. Louisiana is a C class, not necessarily a B or an A.
Sure.
And if you don't go deep enough, then you can't sell it
because the appreciation won't be as high on the flip side either.
Right.
But I think there's a balance there.
And there's less demand as well.
Because what you don't want to do is like rob grandma.
No,
you know, and you end up. You see what happened with what was it, Homevestors? They got a big takedown piece. You know, like you're stealing grandma's house. You don't want that because then what happens? You get more regulation. And they start cracking down.
Yeah.
I think you got to find a balance.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at some deals here.
Let's take a look at some deals.
BuyMyProps.com. So these are all your houses.
These are all our houses. Yep. Yeah.
These are low income deals. I haven't seen houses in these numbers since 2009.
I'm looking at this too. I didn't even know.
Zach, let's pretend.
You know why?
Let's pretend, Zach, that you had to get into another market. You had to buy one of these.
Sure.
Which one stands out to you?
So, I mean, by default, I like a 3-bed, 2-bath.
All right, let's go up to the filters. Let's go up to the filters.
I'm gonna rent it out.
Advanced filters. We'll have to sign in. Just sign in. Log in. I think Luigi should still already have an account. Just go on Investorlift.com. And then go to advanced filters. And then what do you like 3-2?
3-2.
3-2. Okay. And let's do property type single family. And do you want to aim for an ARV percent or gross margin? Or ARV range?
ARV range.
ARV range. In Atlanta, ARVs are pretty low, right?
Say it's sub 400.
Sub 400? Okay, let's do like 200 to 400.
Go to days listed, 0 to 10. Then we get some hot deals.
How do we have 0? Is no one entering their ARVs?
Probably.
No deals found.
I think it's even
People
lower.
aren't entering their ARVs, I don't think.
There we go.
All right, we got some houses.
Got some houses.
How is that house right there, 46.5?
No, that's not true.
That doesn't make sense.
What it is probably seller finance and that's the entry fee.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
That's a nice looking house.
That's a great rental market. Clayton County, Jonesboro.
Should we go click on that one? Let's click on that one.
It's a good rental market.
It's a good rental. Oh,
no, up to the right.
Yeah, let's go back. Clayton County, 230.
Right.
All right.
1,800 square feet.
Okay.
You're built in 1991. 3.2. ARV 370.
I mean,
let's look at the
that's
photos.
A crazy spread if that was accurate. It's a good looking house.
This is a good looking house. This might be a deal. Nice new HVAC. Yep. Siding looks good.
Great
Definitely
house.
Dated on the inside.
Yeah,
but
probably hasn't been updated since 91.
Probably needs probably 80 grand.
Yeah, new kitchen.
Looks like grandpa comes with it.
It's got nice trim work and everything.
Oh, nice looking house.
Yeah.
What does this house rent for?
Low to mid twos.
No brainer. What's the taxes on it?
Oh, Lisa Hancock. This team was the first team on Investorlift.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Lisa Hancock.
Oh, there it is. I said 70 grand.
These guys are dialed with their numbers.
300.
They were
this
one
is
of
a
the
deal
first.
I would buy in a heartbeat.
They were the first team to break two.
Absolutely.
This team was the first team on Investorlift to break $2 million a month.
Wow.
They're legit wholesalers.
Closing on August, so it's a delayed closing. Please have your final and best offer. So that's a starting price.
I love their the way they've done their bio. I love this.
Lisa here sells over $100 million of property per year.
Wow.
Go up again. I like this deal for multiple reasons. Let's talk about it. If the $2,000 a month rental rate is legit, you're getting close to an 8.5%. Yield after you're putting in your improvements. You've got great equity after stabilization. It looks like it's a nice looking, great curb appeal home. So what are the taxes on this? Ballpark.
Probably like 4 max a year.
100 or 1,000?
$4,000 a year.
Oh, that changes the dynamics actually a little bit. That changes your yield on that in terms of rental.
Yes.
Because then you're losing 2 months of rent. So you're getting 20,000 on 3. So that actually brings it into the high 6s after stabilization. But then it may not even be, it's still okay because once you recapture the equity at the end, you're still getting a really good yield.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the deal.
Yeah, I see it as, no, I don't buy in Georgia in fairness, but if I was in that market, I would buy every one of
On
those.
that all day long.
Oh, there's a video of it.
Wow.
This is great marketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
2-minute video.
Very impressive.
It's a good looking house.
Guys, this is how you get to $2 million a month. Just
There you
do it
go.
right. Have good deals, priced right. Put a video on.
Yes.
So for me, again, Shawn, as a young entrepreneur with liquidity, why wouldn't you put your money in these assets to continue to hold? You talked about, the future and cherry picking. These opportunities you should be holding all day long.
So Zach, I see it as a single family, as kind of a means to it. I know you're the biggest guy in Arizona. From what I've been told by others, I was briefed before I came here, and I was told
you spoke to Secret Security, you spoke to the CIA.
I was briefed by several people, and they said this guy that you're about to go meet, the Zach guy, he's worth XYZ amount, but when you talk to him and when you see him, you will never believe it because how humble he is and the way he comes off. You won't believe it. But I know Zach's game, but Zach, I just feel like with the tax benefits that you would be able to get in a multifamily asset versus a single family hold, and the problems and the headaches that you would experience because it's not scaled with single family. It's just so much easier to scale a multifamily. The tax benefits you're getting and all that versus a single family asset. For me, if I get in and I'm just doing 1 or 2 and I get dealt an unlucky hand and now I'm getting a tenant calling me at 2:00 in the morning, Shawn, my toilet isn't working. What am I going to do with that? Versus with an apartment, multifamily, 50, 60 units, now vertically integrated to that. There's materials on site.
Cost seg.
It's cost seg studies. It's bonus depreciation. It's accelerated depreciation. I get all the tax benefits. It's offsetting. It'll literally wipe me out. One good multifamily asset a year will wipe out a good couple years worth of taxes for me.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the advantages and the disadvantages, single family housing is great. And I think it's great for the middle class investor that, can do a house a year and they can really build some good wealth.
But you're
not a house a year guy. What I'm telling you is go buy, it's scalable. I'm proving it because I've done it. Go buy 20, 30 of these a year. You got good diversification. Yeah. You're still going to you can do your cost segregation. You get your depreciation.
Yeah.
Plus, I believe that there's greater long-term appreciation in single-family homes than in multifamily.
Really?
I agree with that. And then the other advantage on single family is you can lock in the 30-year debt.
Yep.
Yes.
You're like,
correct.
When you start getting commercial multifamily, when the rates change, it changes all the numbers.
Look at all these. So I know a lot of people. They're like, Zach, you're an idiot. Single family. You're wasting your time. You're an amateur. Fine. They go out and prior to the last 2 years, they crushed. They made tens of millions of dollars. And you fast forward today, they're fucking still tossing and turning right now with anxiety because now they're fucking underwater from everything they've rolled. And they bought bigger complexes and then bigger. And now all of a sudden it's gone down 30 or 40%. Everything that they've gained for the prior years in fairness. And of course, we're looking just at a snapshot today.
Sure.
So if someone's going to watch this video in 5 years, they're going to say, oh, if you have the staying power. But that's the key component is the debt behind that is less stabilized than in the single family.
Unless you can seller finance multifamily.
There you go.
If you can seller that solves everything. We're talking about that with Pace last week.
Yeah, that's
if you
great.
can seller finance multifamily is the best of both worlds.
Then you got longevity and then it's controlled.
Well, I'd love to ask you a question.
Ask me anything you want.
Capital. When it comes to single family assets, are you buying everything cash? Do you have partners behind you, line of credits? What does your kind of capital structure look like with your operation?
Sure. When I first started, it was OPM, similar to what you're building right now. And then once I paid off investors, I used that liquidity for my profitability to buy my own homes free and clear.
Understood.
And then when banks started lending again in the single family space, then I cross-collateralized those properties to get lines of credit. Those lines of credit enable me to buy more single family unencumbered because those are new homes that are acquired. And then I can pledge those back to the bank, and I pay a lot in taxes because I believe you got to pay to play by playing the long game.
Sure.
And now a lot of it's just cash and lines of credit, just self-funded.
But you also have an appetite for cap rates at like 6%. I'm hearing. Like,
I don't have an appetite at 6%. I have an appetite for, of course, the highest yields.
Yeah.
But realistically, in today, I aim for an 8 to 10 cash on cash. But I will not buy anything that doesn't have at least 15 to 20% equity after stabilization. Okay. That's the key component. I'm not just going after a cap rate. I'm going after equity. I say one question, Shawn. When I buy that asset today, does it increase my net worth? Does it stay the same, or do I lose? If we're running a race and we're running a marathon, you want to give me a head start? Equity is the head start.
Yeah. Because you just cash that equity out and keep playing the long game.
I have multiple exits. If I wanted to sell that asset and I buy it today and I want to wholesale it tomorrow, I want to, retail, I can do whatever I want. There's multiple exits. I'm a contingency guy. Whereas you buy some multifamily, you're going to be stuck for a while depending on what's going on. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. It's important to look at everything and adaptation. And
it's tough for me to stomach a 10 cap because for me, it's like 10 years until I get my money out. You know? It's very tough for me to stomach
that. It's a marathon.
Yeah. It is a marathon.
But when you're looking at 10%,
30 years old.
just in terms of, you say stomach it, but when you can cherry pick your own deals and you have 15 or 20% equity, and you held that asset for 1 year and then you recaptured your 15% equity, your effective yield is 25%. After selling expenses, call it 22%. That gets you much more excited.
Yeah, when you look at your ROI at the end of the day, when you exit
and that's what
the
you
asset.
have to do. You're looking at the micro, which everyone does, or they're saying, oh, I can't buy this because I'm only getting $100 a month in cash flow. What you're neglecting is the recapture of the equity play. That is the most important. I would tell you, and I say this all the time, I think we asked Jacob Blank, if you broke even on the asset for a year, the delayed gratification, but in a year from now with nothing's a guarantee, but with a high rate of probability that you buy a $200,000 home, you either negative cash flow $100 a month or it's a break even, and you can come out and make $40,000 with a high degree of probability, would you not buy that asset?
Of course.
There you go.
It's an inflation hedge.
Right.
It's an inflation
Absolutely.
hedge.
Massive
So let me ask
hedge.
you this now as a follow-up, because I think this will benefit the audience a lot. Where do you draw the line to wholesale or to keep? The $30,000 fee on a cherry pick deal? Because the cherry picking, you're taking the best deals, but the best deals also come with the highest assignment fees. Where do you draw the line? Where do you say, hey, what's the golden rule to follow? Like, hey, when do I say, okay, is it every 5 houses to 1? Or where do you kind of draw the line where it's like, hey, if I'm cherry picking the deals to keep, those are traditionally the deals where I'm making 40, 50K assignment fees. So you're getting that money up front. Think about how long it would take you to make that money.
But you're not really making that because you're paying capital gains on every one of those and you have no depreciation. So for me, I think it's relative to the person asking the question and your liquidity. If you're raising capital and if I'm you, Shawn, and I'll reciprocate, and you say, hey, to this fund or whoever, this is what we're doing. We're a proven entity. We've done X amount of deals. You're at $500,000 a month. You can prove the ability to repay debt, and you're a very stabilized operation now. You should be raising money to cherry pick every one of those. I'm not greedy. I'm rational because I want to take them all down based on liquidity. Now, if I didn't have liquidity and I didn't have enough money for operating expenses and continue to my core competency, then I would wholesale until I have additional liquidity to service operations, sleep at night. And when you have excess capital, I would buy every one of those deals, which I have. I'm not a wholesaler. I'm a buyer and playing the long game. I want to take it down. I want to season it. I want long-term. Ideally, I don't even want to sell anything. I'm happy to own everything I bought as legacy properties. That's the answer.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's
why
we've talked about this before.
I have Zach on the show because I'm completely opposite. I'm wholesale everything. He's buy everything, and that's I think why this because you get both sides.
Yeah, it's important to have perspective. It's just a conversation.
Yeah. But I'm like when you're young, get the money wholesale. Zach's like, hey, play the long game.
But also at your age, you can stomach a lot of risks. So for me, and I would tell you this, if I 20, you're just 21, it's fucking amazing. I started my real estate career at 22. You're way ahead of the game. You have so much time and longevity, baby. Real estate long term, I would be buying everything that I can.
It's going to compound like that. 10, 15% compounding. Like, a move might be for you is like, start a separate company, completely separate, and that's
buy
your
the
portfolio.
Wholesale deals from the wholesale.
But also, I would state this: so you're wholesaling, and a lot of it's virtual and nationwide. I would specifically cherry pick the deals that are in your market, right? Because you want to see it, feel, and control. Because otherwise, you're going to get jacked. If someone's going to give you, hey, Shawn, this one doesn't need this much, and then you close and they're structural. So I only. Like I'm type A. I want to see it, feel it, and touch it. I'd only buy in my own market.
Only Arizona.
I only buy Arizona. My whole portfolio is Arizona.
Wow.
So if I'm you, I would wholesale in every other state, but in your backyard where you can hop in your Lamborghini and go look at it, go buy that deal. Plus, it'll give you a really good market presence. And then again, in your plan to be governor, you know, you're going to say, hey, I'm not only am I talking about home ownership, I own it and I'm providing low income opportunities. I think it falls into your long range plan of ownership.
That
be
is
really
very
cool.
True. There we go. Fair enough. That's some good perspective.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know the problem with most wholesalers?
What?
You get burnt out after 3-4 years.
Yeah, I see it every day.
And then a lot of guys walk out and then they try to do the next thing and they're like, shit, I wish I bought some stuff.
True.
As we've been doing these podcasts, the number one common thing that I hear over and over again is I wish I bought more.
Or I'm going to start buying now. It's like there's having this realization, right?
Yeah.
If we can embed and play it, because you're only as good as your last deal, in fairness, right? You're only as good as your last deal. You buy a really good cherry pick deal with a lot of equity, and now that money, that asset is making money for you, where you could just go, you know, focus on watches or go over to Pakistan and build your call center more. That's the beauty of passive income. Right now, again, you're human capital. You're the jockey. You got to be on that horse all day, every day. You're going to get burned out. You're going to get tossed off that horse. Versus now, you can let those other jockeys ride for you.
And it builds up your balance sheet, and a balance sheet is safety net.
Very true.
Yeah. As we've been doing these podcasts, like Zach has changed the way I've been thinking.
There you go.
I'm like, shit, why didn't I buy more?
Raising private money, the beauty is bankability. Once you have those assets and you have that lineage of equity and assets and collateralization, it just opens the opportunity for diversification in your business and strength to banks, where you're not going to give up as much equity, or you're not going to pay a higher yield. So long term, these assets will provide a lower cost of capital for all of your businesses by having a really good balance sheet and strength and solid assets.
Zach,
Banks like real estate.
Zach is his bank's #1 customer.
I bet.
Yeah, #1.
Back in Arizona,
Yeah.
I've been told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, we got to wrap this up.
Okay.
Guys, if you found value, again, please drop a comment below. Drop 11 out of 10. We do respond to all these comments ourselves. Shawn, if people have questions for you, would you be happy to jump in the comments and respond?
Hit me up on Instagram at Shawn Surani, ShawnSurani.
Yeah, and we will link also to your call center. So guys, if you need dollars, you know, I'm a big PPC guy, but PPC is expensive. So you always got to start with callers first. If you're looking for callers, you know, that testimony from Connor. I've known you guys for years. I know you guys run a legit shop. You post big numbers. Shawn, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm excited to see.
You're precocious, you're solid, resilient, proud of your success. You know, great to know you.
Animal, absolute animal. Like, what really impresses me, how you just go. You just don't give up. You just go, and the innovation to the stuff that you're doing is so much outside of the box thinking. Really impressive.
We're true to this. We're not new to this. How you start is how you finish, and how you finish is how you start. Thank you guys for having me on.
That's a wrap.